Oh man, you got new. You always have a new background.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's gonna be like a new thing now, I think. So I want to welcome everybody.
Just for you.
Yeah, just for me. So I want to welcome everybody to another edition of Comics Cast Let It Out on a beautiful Sunday, August 29th. I just want to welcome all of you, and of course, welcome my special super duper co-host Rick, who is sporting He's sporting a new background like he always do. I mean, it's become kind of a trend now. He has a new background that features some image of me. So I think it's kind of funny. It is kind of funny. But anyway, I want to welcome you all to Comics Cast Let It Out. And Comics Cast, what is Comics Cast about? Comics Cast is all about showcasing the independent creator. If you are in the indie comic community, you're a writer, an inker, a penciler, a publisher, we want to help get eyes on you. That's what Comics Cast is about. And Let It Out, a little bit different. It extends that mission, but we also have like a little bit of a live drawing component where we can get a more, a more intimate portrait of our guest. I know Rick is all about intimacy, you know, so we definitely want to get that out there as well. So that you're an intimate person, yeah. Anyway, if my professional co-host is ready to go, he can pull up our YouTube page. And
ta-da!
Yeah, look at that. He's so professional. So if you look at the scrolling ticker at the bottom, if you found us through Facebook, it's just Comics Cast. If you want to look for us on YouTube, it's Indie Comics Cast on YouTube. You have to add INDIE in front of it. And Rick, look at that. He's scrolling through our plethora. I say it again, our plethora of videos. We have quite the archive of past shows that includes all of our past Let It Outs, as well as the Artist Roundtable. And of course, Rick's super duper limited edition mentor block, which has a whopping 2 shows.
You're gonna poke me from that every show.
And that's an encouragement, because I think those 2 episodes were wonderful. And I think that if Rick can find the time, I know that he could throw together or put together a industry professional and a up and coming artist and be able to share that knowledge. So check out.
All I do is limited edition. Just look at this Friday Funhouse. Only one show.
I know. Well, you know, every now and then I think that it'd be nice to get past the 1 and 2 episode, because I know Rick is a talented guy. We want to make sure that we get his talents in terms of being a super co-host, as well as putting together some really cool shows. So we'll see what happens in the future. I'm going to keep on encouraging Rick to do that.
Before we go on, I think I'm echoing up from you sometimes when you talk and I talk. There's some echo.
Okay.
From your end.
Yeah, I don't hear any echo, but I don't know what can I do to prevent.
It's like when I'm talking and you're talking at the same time, loud enough. I don't know.
All right. I guess our rule is not to talk over each other, and that way we'd have no echoing.
Well, how then am I gonna to make you stop talking?
Oh, that's what your plan was. That was what your plan was. All right, let's get our Comics Cast page off here, and you definitely need to check that out on YouTube. And without further ado, we have a very special guest today. I actually connected with him earlier this year, and things kind of got away. We all got kind of busy, and you know, I was going through our list of contacts, and I go, why haven't I had this guy on here sooner?
Yeah, why haven't you?
Yeah, I know, and I felt really bad, but I think everything is due in good time, because it's a really good opportunity to talk about where this creator is right now. He is on the cusp of breaking out. I think he has a phenomenal art style, and it's my pleasure to have this particular indie creator artist on the show.
Everybody knows who it is. It's in the title.
I know, but I want to build up the mystery here. So I will do the drum roll here, and let's get him in. And yay! We have Mr. Vic Medina. Yeah. How are you doing, Vic?
I am good. How about yourself?
I'm doing great, and I take it you're asking.
So of course he's doing great. Yeah, it's always great when I'm here.
Oh, that's what it is. Yeah, I'm usually like, you know, moping around, but whenever I get Rick, I'm on a show with Rick, my spirits just get lifted. You know, he's that kind of guy, and they're even higher now because we have Vic Medina on the show today, hailing from the great state of California, yes. LA representing. And Vic, like I said earlier, it was definitely a long time coming, getting you on the show, but no time like the present to get you on here. I switched the ticker at the bottom over. This is how you can like, follow, commission, the whole, anything you could ever want. Because when you see what my guest Vic can do, you're going to want to know more about him. You're going to want to follow him. You're going to want to get some commissions, because I believe that Vic is he's just right there. He's gonna explode. He's gonna make his mark on the industry. He talked about him wanting to break out, but I think in 2021, he is not resting on that. It'd be great to work for I guess those so-called big companies, but Vic is putting together his own stuff as well. So that's the great thing about the indie community, and that's why it's a pleasure to have you here on the show. So check out those links. Let me do one thing. I forgot to put that in the comment field, unless Rick did it. Did Rick do that?
Of course, I'm not that professional.
All right, let me put that back up here. And I'm going to put that in the comments field so we can make sure that everybody, you can go check it out, bookmark it. Don't go there just yet, because we want your eyes on this show so you can see what Vic is all about. So let's move to the first part of the show, which is what we call the elevator pitch. And like I tell all of my guests who are familiar with the elevator pitch, usually that's like, hey, what can you say to a potential, like if you got stuck in the elevator with Todd McFarlane or Jim Lee, what would you say between a floor when the elevator door closes and when it opens? In this case, Vic, you have a whole skyscraper. You can talk all you want. We want to hear the whole story in terms of your art journey to where you are today. So with that being said, I'm going to pass the mic over to you, and I'm going to pull up some artwork. That's just going to be some visual, some visual eye candy to go along with your story. But we're going to go back and dig deep into those individual art pieces. So the mic is now in your hand, Vic. Tell us about yourself.
All right. Hey, everyone. I'm a penciler, inker, colorist. That's, just trying to break into the comic book industry. I haven't been around. Well, I've been around for several years, but I took some time off to really hone my skills and try to come back as a complete artist. You said if I was in an elevator with Todd McFarlane and Jim Lee, I think I'd just be staring at them and being like on my phone. I'm in an elevator with Jim Lee and Todd McFarlane.
Yeah, Rick looks like Jim Lee, so don't let him intimidate you.
I would just stand there sweating, look down and giggle like a little girl myself. So.
Yeah, I'm like so many other artists right now. Just trying to make a name for themselves, trying to break into the industry. The ultimate goal, I think, is to work with a big company and eventually do my own creator-owned characters and book, and just get out there. I enjoy working with others, but the dream would be to draw Spider-Man or Batman, one day. And
well, tell us a little bit about your art journey. Like, I remember we were doing our pre-show yesterday.
Yeah.
And you had such a great story in terms of like your introduction into the world of comics with your uncle, and I think it was your older brother. Do you want to share a little bit about that? So
like so many others, I was drawing since a very young age, and I had an older brother who had comics, and he would put them in the closet up high where I couldn't reach them. So I'd want to look at them, and I couldn't reach them. So I never really was doing comic book art. I was just doing what they showed at school, occasional art classes, things like that. It wasn't until my uncle one day I was sketching on a pad of paper, and my uncle said, hey, let me see that real quick. And he drew an amazing drawing of Spider-Man, and I was just in awe, and I was just hooked on Spider-Man. And from that day I was just like, okay, I'm gonna draw Spider-Man. I'm gonna figure out how to draw Spider-Man, how to draw all these other characters who were in these books with them. And my brother would draw a little bit, and I'd watch him, but then after time I surpassed him, so I think he stopped drawing after that. And then I started collecting more and more comics, and once once I bought my first comic, which was Wolverine 36 by Mark Silvestri,
Yes.
I was hooked. Absolutely hooked. Like, I didn't know there was people that can draw like that. You know, this is Mark Silvestri Wolverine, so this is pre-internet. So the only thing I got my hands on that was comic related was that first comic that I honestly think they used to sell like 3-packs at like Toys R Us of comics.
Oh, I do remember that.
No, they used to sell those, and you didn't know what was inside. It just said like Marvel Comics. And you know, you buy them and you don't know what's in there, and that happened to be one of them. And I was just blown away. I was like, "Wow, how do these guys do that?" And I just studied that book, and you know, copied his art. And then once I realized, hey, there's other guys out there, you know, going to your first comic book store or convention. Like my uncle would, like I would go spend the night at my uncle's, the same one that would draw, and he would use me as an excuse to go to the comic book store. He would tell my aunt, "Oh, Victor wants to go to the comic book store," and I'm like, "I do."
I use that excuse too, but I use my nieces and nephews for all sorts of ulterior motives. But unfortunately, comic book stores are kind of like going the way of the dodo.
Yeah, they really are.
But that's a sad state of affairs. But talking about, you know, your past, I mean, you mentioned Mark Silvestri. Who also were your influences? Because I can name a ton of these just by looking at your art. Yeah.
All those big image guys, the first ones that left Marvel, you know, Mark Silvestri, Todd McFarlane, Eric Larson, Jim Lee, Dale Keown, Wallace Portacio. You know, all those guys that left Image or were big at Image when it first started. Like those guys were everybody I was watching, and then as you know, you start looking at other creators. You know, Image came out with a Cliffhanger, which introduced me to J. Scott Campbell.
Yes,
and,
yes.
I think it was it Humberto Ramos? He was working on one at the time.
Yes.
And Joe Mad. Then there's, you know, and then, you know, Greg Capullo started drawing Spawn, so he was an instant favorite. And now there's so many guys. Pepe Larraz. We were talking Pepe Larraz. I love Pepe Larraz. He's amazing.
He is, and I think that's one of the cool things when we were talking to you yesterday during the pre-show. Totally geeking out, you know, because I can see your style in terms of how it's evolved, and we're going to talk a little bit about your art journey in terms of where you were, and you know, this is example of where you were, and I was like, this was an example to our audience. This is an example of where Vic was earlier in his art journey, and it's incredible. It still is incredible. But one of the things that he did is that Vic took some time off, and he felt like he had, I don't know what the word is. I mean, Vic, I guess you said that something like you didn't feel like you were burnt out, right?
I definitely was.
Yeah, and you said something about how your art just you weren't feeling it. There was something missing to it, and you decided, hey, take some time off. And that time off was some serious time off. You took 2.5 years.
Yeah, I did.
That was amazing because, you know, I think that when some artists take time off, it's like maybe they don't come back, or maybe it's like an extended amount of time. Like for me, I drew in college just as a hobbyist, and I focused on my career after college, and I didn't pick up doing type of comic book art until much, much later. And look, thankfully for all of us, Vic only took 2.5 years, but in that journey, you know, I think that 2.5 years did you some really, like, allowed you to level up. And before go ahead.
I have to ask, what did you do for those 2.5 years that you feel helped you get to find that passion again?
That first year, I didn't draw. I honestly rarely looked at comics. You know, my only thing of comic related at all was like the Marvel and DC movies that would come out maybe around that time. That was it. I wasn't touching paper. I wasn't looking at a comic. I was just so burnt out drawing that I kind of gravitated away toward. I mean, I just went away from it, and all of a sudden, I got that itch again. It just one day to the next, I was like, you know what? I want to draw something. After a year, I want to draw something, but I don't want to do the same old thing I was doing before. The guy's just standing there, or guys just like trying to look cool. You know, I wanted to do more, so I started studying comic book art again. I started looking at everything, whether it was movies, statues, just using a lot of reference pictures to start drawing again. And then that time I was like, well, I kind of want to color my own art because I want my art to look professional. And I don't.
Yeah. Before I let you get too far, there's an important story that that you talked to me yesterday about, which I find completely intriguing. Because when you took that time off, you mentioned how you actually didn't even look at comics. You were so burnt out to the point where I think you said it surprised me. I thought you went into like this sabbatical state where you were just going to study comics and not actually draw it. But what I found intriguing about your story over that 2.5 years is that you took up, you still had that creative bug, but it wasn't the bug that was in comics.
Yeah.
You mentioned to me you took up photography.
Yeah, I did.
And you talked about, we're going to talk about your color, how you've leveled up your color game. But you want to tell our audience a little bit about your story about now that you've discovered photography, how that actually helped frame your perspective, your thought process, which translated to your new art style, taking into color and composition. Share with us a little bit your story about photography.
I still wanted to be creative. I just didn't know how. And I knew someone that was wanting to be a pinup model and had asked me like, hey, maybe, you have a good eye for art. Maybe you could take my photos. And I was like, yeah, sure. But I don't have a camera. I don't have any of that. I have my cell phone. And then, taking a couple pictures and then like editing them on Photoshop. I was like, I like this, let me invest into a camera. Maybe this will be something I like. Mm-hmm. And once I got into it, you start to use a different eye for photography. I was working with a lot of pinups, so you start to figure out shapes and lines and what looks best on somebody standing there. What's the best lighting? And it was stuff that I had never thought about before when I was drawing. But when you're taking a photo, you don't want shadow across somebody's face.
Yep.
Because then that, you don't. Your focal point is somewhere else completely. You're trying to focus on those eyes, and you're trying to draw whoever's looking at that photo into the beautiful image, and making whoever you're working with as great looking as possible. And in that process, I started working with a makeup artist.
Yes.
And, working with somebody who understands color and is painting somebody's face.
Yes.
It gives you a whole new perspective on color.
It was almost like a translation. We think of makeup as obviously like in the most obvious way, it's like makeup for like women, thinking of it that way, and then we think of the opposite extreme of makeup, like special effects makeup. But then when you think of it in the photography setting, it's like that blend in there. You're looking for how you can use the setting, whether it's outdoors, indoors, artificial lighting. How you can a makeup artist is an artist. He or she is figuring out, like you said, helping paint the subject's face. And that's what you're doing as well. You told me, I never thought of it that way. And you taking that time off, working as a photographer and with a makeup artist, I thought that was brilliant. And that upped your game in terms of color theory. I take it, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because you're sitting there and you're like, hey, how come like you're doing that color on her? Aren't her eyes green? Don't you want like more green on your eyes? And they're just looking like, no, you want their eyes to pop. So, you want to use a complementary color.
There you go.
Things pop, and you sit there going, oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's stuff I wouldn't normally think about when I was coloring before. And, once I decided to start coloring, I had that information that I had just learned, the color theory. And I took it with, color theory that you see on YouTube, things like that. And I started mushing the two together. So, helps create moods and helps create a look, and just, every page has a mood, and you want a certain look to it. And it really helps when you already have an idea going in, because you understand color. And that helped me with my artwork as well, because, I had told you this. before I would draw and I'd put so much detail onto the page that after I wanted to color, I was like, well, where am I going to lay down color? Because I can't make this part bright anymore because look at all this color look at all this detail that's just blocking out where it could be color.
Yep.
And once you go in, you start drawing again, you're like, hey, I'm going to leave this open because then I could put color right here to set this mood.
Yeah. Go ahead. Keep on going.
I was going to say, I'm not very good at like filling in with blacks. So I'll go in with like color and
I think that's what's beautiful about what you're talking about, because I'm showing this artwork in this order because here we had examples of where Vic was coloring other artists' work. Here we have Pepe Larraz, and this is where he was practicing his color theory. And when he's able to take other people's artwork, other artists' artwork, and then focus just strictly on the color, and then that is what he's bringing into his own artwork. And we talked about how he's a penciler, how Vic is a penciler, he's an inker, and he's a colorist. I'm going to say he's a triple threat. He has three things that he does really well, and this is why I think this is a good example here of this Moonlight picture. He talked about having over rendering something, putting too much detail in there. I think that's a very common thing for a lot of artists. For me, it's like sometimes I'll not even want to erase. I'll just keep on putting another line on top of another bad line on top of another bad line. And I think Vic,
that explains it.
Yeah, that's my wonky drawing style. But I think when I look at Victor's stuff here, as a triple threat, he can look at the artwork here and see where he can do the bare necessity in terms of like pencils, know where the inks are going to drop, and then know where the colors are going to drop, even to make it even stronger. And this is what I really want to show to everybody here. Because this Moon Knight one is a great example, because you could see that the color that he didn't have to like put in a lot of cross hatching to create the shadows. He knew that as the colorist, he could put that in. He can color block all that stuff out to show where the light source is, and he doesn't have to rely on that. But he does do some hatching techniques as well. But it's not over rendered. It has that nice clean style, which to me has become signature of when I look at Vic stuff. And this is what I would love to, what I'm going to really enjoy showing to our audience here. This is a process. This next segment we're going to talk about is just showing. I'm going to show examples of Vic's pencils, going to his inks, and then we get to see his colors. And they're all phenomenal at every stage. and that's why I say is I think that Vic is on the cusp of just breaking out, because you can see he's talented in all these things. So here we have a piece right here. Vic, you want to talk a little bit about the pencils here, and then we're going to show the inks, and then we're going to go to the colors.
This is Haunted Witchblade. This is a page I tried to do years ago, and I mean years ago. Mm-hmm. And I never liked the way it came out, because to me it felt just like everybody else looked too stiff. Once it came back, I was like, let me give that page a try. And, studying everything I studied, I was like, okay, well, he's fine standing there, but I want everybody else to look like they're struggling. And going in there and learning all the new things that I've learned, you could see from like where you put in the inks. I forgot her eyeballs. I always forget that. But you'll see like, even with my inks, there's certain areas where I was like, I'm not gonna even bother putting that in with pencils, because I could do that with an ink brush later. And I've actually even simplified my process more since this, because since I ink my own work, I use a looser pencil now. Mm-hmm. I go in and ink it, and that's where I really start adding in the detail. Because anybody knows who like inks their own work, if they put a lot of detail, now when you ink it, you have to go back over every single little thing again.
Right. You don't want to do the work twice,
doing
right?
the same work twice. Yeah. So, and this one actually didn't even take that long.
Really?
It was a really quick page. I had the idea already in my head. I knew what I wanted to get down on paper. It was just, this is a matter of getting the layout the way I wanted it.
Yeah. I have to say that you got the expressions down. When I looked at this piece, I can see tons of different artist influences in here. But it's their influences. It's still Vic's style here. and I love the textures, and I mean, do you rely on a lot of different brushes, or is it all like?
No, this is for this one. It is like maybe 2-3 brushes. The inks on all the characters is all one brush. The background is I fill in the background black, and then I do a splatter brush on it. Since I draw digital, it's on a layer. The background's on a layer.
Yes.
And then I could just go in with a splatter brush to give it that effect that I want.
But this is done traditionally though, right? Or is this done?
No, that one's a digital drawing.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. I guess I can kind of see that right there.
If you look at the upper pencils, like you could see, it's not quite.
Yeah.
If you look at the blacks.
True.
Yeah.
True. You fooled me there at first glance, but now that I'm zooming in, it's really neat to see your process here. And I even noticed this little pin up here on the wall that's like right in the center. I think that's for Rick. Rick, did you notice that?
Of course. I know that was for me.
That was yeah. But I
like
look at this stuff, and it's definitely, I can see some influence. It has like a, there's Capullo, there's Brett Booth, there's Tony Daniel. I see all of these things, but it is definitely a Vic composition here. Because you have this really distinct style, especially when you have this extreme foreground, midground, and then the background, and then there's even like further background here. And I love these expressions, tons of attitude. And as we go to the colors here,
I think Vic had something to add before.
Yeah, go ahead.
You'll notice in those ones, like this page was planned out way in advance. You'll notice the Haunt. None of these guys really have heavy blacks on them except for Haunt, because that was his costume. Because I knew going in how I wanted the color to be on it, so that way they popped, as opposed to the characters in the background who are supposed to be in shadow. With that one light just hitting the two characters in front.
And this is that color theory that we were talking about, because I think to the layperson who's just used to coloring books and things like that, it's like, hey, if it's in the background, let's paint it black. If it's in the foreground, whatever the costume colors of whoever the character is, we're going to paint it that. And I like how how you drew attention to it, because you use a purple.
Yeah.
And it's not a you don't want to obscure, so you can still see those details that you really spent a lot of time in here, to illustrate and help to the add to the composition. It's still there. It's not lost. It's not buried in the background, but it's definitely secondary or even tertiary to like what the foreground is going to be. And then these accent lightings that you did, I mean, just tremendous. So this is just one example of Vic's talents here in terms of like being the triple threat. Because here we're going to go to another example of what Vic is doing here, and this is it. Everybody loves the Mandalorian. I think that was one of the really
spoiler. I thought this was going to be Boba Fett.
Oh, true. So here I want Vic to talk a little bit about this too, because because this has all these processes actually show a little bit more. He does a little bit more for all these little examples. So Vic, as I show these, you just let me know when you want me to go to the next one. Just talk to us a little bit about your process in terms of how you roughed it out to the completion.
Yeah. So this is a thumbnail. I did this one. I believe I did this one digitally. I had the idea in mind that I wanted to draw the Mandalorian after watching it, because I was inspired by the show. And I was like, well, let me do something. I don't really know what I want to do yet, but I just want to do a Mandalorian drawing. So I did a rough thumbnail, and this one pretty much came about super easy. Started drawing them, and then once that's the inked one. I think I sent you. Did I send you the pencil?
Oh yeah, did I skip over? Oh, let me. I think I need to put like this to.
There's the pencils.
Yep.
So once I get that on this one, what I did was I printed my thumbnails on 11x17 Bristol. And this one is actually traditional pencil. This is I went in and drew this one only because I wanted to get I wasn't that comfortable digitally yet, so I wanted to get some tighter pencils. So yeah, I print them out, do all my my traditional pencils, and then I take it, I scan it back in, and I ink digitally. And that would be the next one.
Yeah, and I'm just saying here, it's like, you're making your minute adjustments. You can see where the blue line is underneath here. And I'm just loving this Grogu here. He's like looking up at him going, what? This guy is awesome. You know, so but yeah, you can see that it's getting tighter and tighter. And me, I'm a big fan of seeing behind the scenes. And so when you provided me these work in progress from concept to completion, I was eating it up. I mean, it just really was like getting into the mindset of an artist.
Yeah. Sorry, go.
No, go. Keep on going.
Oh, I was gonna say inking is where I tighten. Yeah, like you said, tighten everything up. My pencils are really loose. I have a very sketchy style, so I start to try to tighten everything up in inks. You know, it also helps inking digitally because then, you know, those circle shapes, you could get them perfect now. I don't have to pull out a compass or anything to try to get those down. And you could go to the next one.
Yeah, so let's go to this because this is where you're going into the whole color. Yeah.
This is actually comes before I pencil. So this is still the thumbnail, but this is getting my idea down. So that way, once I do start drawing it, I know where my shadows are going to be, where the light source is going to be coming from, where all the laser blasts are going to be. So that way, I don't put a tremendous amount of detail in an area that's just going to be like washed out by light later. So you can see like along his cape, his armor, you know, that I put like, okay, this area is going to have like a laser blast or the light reflecting off of it here. So that way, once I go in and draw it, I don't have to put detail right there because that's just going to be covered up with a light color. And, you know, less work for me.
Well, you're doing the work of 3 people. You know, you're doing penciling, inking, and color. But I see how you're able to really make those adjustments on the fly because you have the foresight to think about what it's going to be like in the end. And like even in this thing where you're color blocking things out, you know, we talked about it yesterday. It is a bit symmetrical. You know, you have like the three blasts at the top, you have the 3 blasts at the bottom, and then, you know, even though it has a nice energy to it, when it came down to the final, which is this, you mixed it up. So it's even a little
once
different.
I started coloring it, I was like, well, you know what? His armor, I did something I didn't think about was like his armor's shiny. Like I think I was watching the episode when I was coloring this, and you could see the laser blasts in his visor, on his helmet, and I was like, I didn't think about that. It was just something completely didn't cross my mind. So when I went in and colored it, I was like, okay, well, he needs some red, and you know, I just changed it, and you know, by making him have the warm laser blast against him, I just made the outside of him, like the doorway and everything, a cooler color, so that way it looks like he's framed in that doorway, and he really pops out off the page.
Yeah, and I think that was one of the cool things in terms of your color choices here, because one, I'm going to make a little statement. It's so accurate. I want to use that word accurate. It's so accurate that you did it this way because stormtroopers are not accurate. They're going to miss. They're going to shoot the ceiling. They're going to shoot the wall and whatever. And that one lucky guy that got his shoulder, I think that was really...
I'm going to say that's not a stormtrooper. That was somebody else.
That was another bounty hunter.
Yeah.
But your color choices here, you know, I think that if anybody did a slow-mo, you know, if you have a digital video and you did a slow-mo of like special effects, when there's like a laser battle fight, you know, you usually see, it could be a totally dark environment. But when there's a laser blast that comes there, it lights it up. It's lit up, and I think that's that's the impression that I got from here is that it's a gunfight. You know, it's a laser gunfight, and you chose to go in a different direction in terms of like let's do darks with like little isolated laser blast things here. But you decide this is that freeze frame where you see all these laser blasts come out, and now it's illuminated the whole area, and then you see the reflections in his armor, and I think that was a really neat way of just depicting that. I thought that was just really cool in terms of your choice here. And as we go forward, I want to, you know, this is the Mandalorian picture. We're going to look at this process too. And Vic also provided a lot of like work in progress things here. And this looks like Rick, I think you could agree this is like something that I would do. I mean, it's just, it's like, it's a mess, you know, in terms of stuff.
No, but the difference is that Vic's art starts like this, your ends like this.
That is so true. That is so true. My goal is to be completely influenced by Vic so that I can get to that next level. But it's so neat to see this because this is traditional. You know, you're just being very loose, you're trying to capture the energy. That's something that I always like to do, is I want to try and capture the energy. And this is an original character that you came up with. And I don't know exactly what the name is, but there are two things that I'm scared of clowns. And of course, Halloween I'm fascinated by Halloween, but it creeps me out too.
Is this gonna be a clown?
Oh, it's not a clown, but it's Halloween related.
Okay, because I'm out if it's a clown.
So here we go. We go from here. And
these are my loose thumbnails.
Yeah, these are the loose thumbnails. It's capturing the composition. This is like the photo, the eye. I think that now that when Vic took that time off, his compositions have become much tighter. They tell us, it's like, even though these aren't sequential art pieces, these pinups tell a story. I mean, you can really think there's a narrative behind this. And he has this I really think it's like kind of ambiguous right now, but then he tightens it up and does this. I mean, let me solo this out. I really want to focus on this. So Vic, you want to talk a little bit about this?
Yeah, this is after the thumbnails. I just started, this is traditional pencils. I just went in and started jotting down what I wanted and tightening up everything that I could. Really try to get a creepy feel, like really try to make, make him coming out of the cornfield, like he was surprising somebody. And again, this is another case of, I put a lot of detail in it, but you'll notice his hands, there's not a lot of blacked out areas in his hands. I knew I was gonna set a mood with my colors, so I had to keep his hands and some of the corn stalks kind of open for me to be able to do that. But you'll also see, like, around his neck, I blacked that out, so you don't know what his body looks like. You don't know, how big he is, or really where he's coming from. I leave it up to whoever's looking at it to make up their mind as to, like, what is this thing? How big is it? Where's this thing coming from? Or, all those things. I wanted to keep this in a mystery of how big he is, because you can tell how huge his hands are. This thing is probably going to be big and massive. And those are like some of my favorite movie monsters, have those giant hands like that can just like grab you up and, like, carry all of you and just, drag you back into the corn maze.
Yeah, and I think that's really cool because, well, let me just talk about your technical execution here. There's so much verticality in here. All these stalks, all these little minute details of the corn stalks, and this could get, you mentioned this was done traditionally. This could get messy really quick.
Oh yeah, okay.
and you're able to maintain such visual integrity with all of your lines. And then, of course, we talked about the hands and how they look like they're coming up at you, and they're emerging, they're like coming out of the corn stalks, where your attention to, like, line weights, even at this stage, it's really shaping up. I mean, we went from this to this. I mean, it's just incredible. Oh, here we go. Let's just go ahead and get to the inks here.
Yeah, and inks, like, if you see, like, there's as I went in, there's a little bit less detail from the pencils, because as I was going in, I was like, you know what? I could use a brush to make certain textures, whether it's on the corn, whether it's on the wood sign, their hands, things like that. I have a couple of brushes that I was like, okay, I could kind of play with those. And if I need to, if it doesn't work, I could always go back and just start, re-inking it with a texture if I need to.
Right. Okay, so here we are. We're going down the process here in terms of, like, now we have the inks here, and Vic has already decided in terms of, like, where, he doesn't have to over-render it. He knows what textures are going to be where, but he decides, you know what? I don't need to ink those per se, because I can come up with using the coloring techniques to bring those out. And this is, like, I think you're going to tell me this is your favorite part of coloring. I'm being sarcastic. Look at this. This is the flat stage.
Damn it, Yarrow.
This is flatting. If anybody doesn't know what flatting is, it's just basically separating the colors for the colorist, if somebody else is going to color it for you. It's separating all the artwork and laying down color, so that way a colorist can go in and color the artwork. This is so my favorite part. It's so important, because it helps the colorist in the next level, but that's not my favorite part. It really isn't. I'm not a fan of flatting, but it's necessary, and it helps set a mood.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say.
I love flatting. It helps, as you said, set the mood, and it also helps you get the first proper feel of how it would look finished with the lighting and the color scheme and everything. So I personally love flats. I find it really important myself as a painter, more than a normal comic book artist, but a painter. I find flatting important.
It's very important. Like you just said, it helps set a mood. But after you've just drawn it, inked it, and now you gotta flat it, you're like, oh man, I just wish there was a faster way.
I think Vic, you got a flatter. I think you just need to talk to Rick. He can do all your flats.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
I'll be sending him I'm not that kind of flatterer.
But I think it's important to note, it is an important stage because I think, even Vic, in your head, if you were to do, you already know what your end goal is. So flatting is important in terms of like just using colors to denote, all the like I said, the extreme foreground, the midground, the background. So you're setting the tone, you're setting the mood.
Also with my flatting, I'm setting my shadows. So this is as dark as it's gonna go. I know how dark the image is gonna be by doing it this way. I rarely go in and change how dark it is once I'm done flatting. I'll just go in and start, adding the color on top of this. Maybe I'll change add some blues to the hands or anything like that because I'll feel that the night sky is reflecting a little bit more blues on them. But this is pretty much it. This is pretty much set my shadows and everything like that.
Yeah,
it's very rare when I go in and start changing things.
Well, that's where we lead to this. I kind of like spoiled it a little bit when I scrolled a little bit too far. But check this out. I mean, I was speechless when I saw this because
impossible.
It's incredible. Like when art critics or if anybody uses the word atmospheric, there's an atmospheric quality to it. This is an example of atmospheric quality in terms of, look at this mist that Vic has rendered in here, and you can't really draw this. This is something that I don't know. Did you plan on doing this like from the get-go, or is this one of those little happy accidents? Like, hey, I've already put in my colors. Let's take it to like that next level.
Yeah, I love old horror movies like 80s, and for whatever reason the floor was always so smoky, and I was like, let me add a little bit of that smokiness to it, add that like creepiness from those old movies. So I felt he very much was inspired by the older monsters. So I wanted to throw that mist in there just to give it like that corn maze, just like a more moody, spooky look to it. Like, why would somebody be walking in that corn maze and there's smoke everywhere? Like,
yeah, that's like the big giveaway. Don't walk into the cornfield, and if there's little mist and smoke, that's even like a bigger like warning factor. Don't go there.
Yeah. I need to write this down.
Because there's lots of cornfields in Denmark, right?
It's like that. I don't know if you've seen that car commercial where those kids are like running out and they're like, run to the cornfield, and they're like, or run to the cemetery, and there's like there's a car on right there. Like they're like, no, run to the cemetery, and they take off to the cemetery.
Let's hide in the shed. Let's hide in the shed with all the chainsaws.
Yeah, and when they turn in that commercial, you see a cornfield, and there's like smoke on the bottom. Yeah, and it's like, oh yeah, like that's such a like 80s, 90s movies, horror movie like cliche that there's all this smoke everywhere in the middle of the night. Where did that come from?
And let's talk a little bit about the color here, because this is where it goes over the top in terms of like just selling your skills as a colorist here. I zoomed in here, and you can kind of even see like this. It's very subtle. You can see like this reddish amber color that's in the background.
Yeah,
And
I wanted to make the sky pop a little bit.
yeah,
But I also wanted to. So I knew the character's head was going to be orange because obviously he's a pumpkin. So I made
right.
everything else around him blues, greens, cool colors, because I knew he was going to be a warm color and I would be drawn into that. But I wanted just a little bit more, so I put like the sky was a little bit reddish behind him, so it draws your eyes in a little bit more without the sky being like, hey, look at me, look over
and
here.
then and then you go even further with his face inside the jack-o'-lantern. You know, there's light that's illuminating, that's coming out of it, and you did this really cool thing where now it's starting. It's like your attention to light, how it's beaming, it's coming, it's like oozing out, and it's showing on the stalks. And what I really appreciate, you know, seeing how it's going to reflect off his hands here. But then you even put these little shadows that are at his fingertips that are on the sign. I mean, just crazy attention to detail. When you think about the coloring here, I mean, obviously you didn't render the shadows in there when you were doing this. Were these just things like as you started putting the light sources in, you go, well, light would be this way, and this is how it bounced? Are these things that you planned from the very beginning, or were they just like as you colored it, it sort of made sense to put that there?
I knew I wanted his face glowing, but like as you're coloring, so the first thing I colored was all the cool tones because I wanted to save him for last because I knew I was going to spend the most time on him. So as I'm going along, I start to think like, well, if his mouth shape is a certain way, how is the glowing light coming from his eyes going to reflect? Where is it going to hit? How? And so like I think when I colored the sign with the shadow on his fingers, I'd originally just colored the whole thing. And then as I was going along, I was like, oh no, like there should be a shadow there. And then you go back and, you know, grab my shadow color and, you know, put it in there. So that was that one was more of a happy accident because originally I was just going to like a little bit on his hands, you know, mostly on the corn stalk. But then as I was going through, I was like, you know, he needs to glow a little bit more glowing. And that light is going to reflect farther out. So I was like, you know, that's going to hit that sign. Because, you know, you can see the corn stalk is also casting a shadow on his middle finger.
Yes. Yeah, so, right here.
Yeah. So as I go along, I just start thinking like, well, this is where the light's going to hit, and you know, it's going to cast a shadow right there. So
Rick,
that on after,
yeah. Rick, as a digital painter, what's your what are your thoughts on this? I mean,
I think it absolutely looks amazing. I am pleasantly surprised that he used the red to sharpen up, help sharpen up a little bit. A lot of colorists would probably have overlooked that part because it would still have popped, but you made it that extra little pop just by that faint red in the background that, as the owl says, isn't really noticeable, but it's enough to make the head pop even more. And it works because red and orange helps build each other up. And yeah, I like that you used the sign being red as well to help, so it wasn't the only red in the background. That would have made it all look a little bit odd. I don't know if that was on purpose that you added more red to it, or that was just coincidence. But it works no matter what. It complements each other. The two reds there, and then the red on the nails, the cast shadow.
Oh yes, yeah.
Cast lighting. Really good.
And I think that the red on those fingers too is because that it almost looks supernatural. I mean, because you know, you almost think that those are like blood-stained fingers, but you wouldn't see them necessarily be red because you know they're illuminated. You know, they're further in the foreground, so they're further from the light source. But when you made them red, it actually makes it look, like I said, it looks supernatural. It looks like those are almost like that's his fingertips are actually go from the green to like red. And you know, like maybe the blood of his victims is already like soaked into his fingertips. But it's just really neat. You know, we're looking at this art piece, and I don't know the story, but it tells a story. You know, you haven't told us who this character is, and like you said, part of the cool or the mystery factor is you don't see the rest of his body. So that makes it even more mysterious. It makes him more intriguing. Yeah, it makes you want to know more about him. And of course, stay out of the cornfield. you don't want to go there, but it's just really, really neat. I can't wait. I hope you develop this and it becomes a character.
It does a job for sure. I could easily see this as a cover, and because you would immediately stop and have a second look on the shelves with this one, which a cover should do. So I could see this as a cover for your own comic of some sort.
Yeah,
really.
That'd be great. More, use it as a sign to not go into the corn maze at the middle of the night.
Yeah.
October is coming. Is coming. So all right. So let's continue down here because I want to get to the live drawing, and I think this will be a perfect transition to it because we went from this really organic cornfields and these stalks and then these verticalities that we see in terms of the composition, and we're gonna do some more verticality here too, but it's now things that are more man-made, they're structural. So this is showing Vic's by his diversity in talent, being able to be, or his versatility in talent. He can switch from that organic cornfield. Now he's doing skyscrapers, and here we have a composition of Spider-Man. And I'm just going to go through this really quickly because I want to get to our live drawing segment.
Yeah.
But here we go. We get to see how Vic is able to block this thing out. He has Spider-Man in this really dynamic pose, but he's no stranger to doing these man-made structures. And what I like about this too, it's being able to show how he's able to think the bigger picture. And I like how it's almost like it's transparent, so you can see what's behind it, the skyscrapers, and how he's really thinking about how this composition is going to work. And then we got it cleaned up even more. And so here he's done like a grayscale tones to like really separate the character from the background. And Vic, I want you to tell me a little bit of story about this particular piece, because when I looked at this, I was like, wow, I just love how it pops off there, and that really J.J. Abrams-esque lens flare. How that just sort of like, and then you told me you had a funny thing to say when I said how I really liked it. And what was your?
I was drawing this one and I was like, you know what, I really want him, flying through the city, swinging through the city, being Spider-Man. And after a while, I just got so tired of coloring buildings and coloring windows and things like that, that the buildings in the background that are there aren't colored at all. I was like, I'm gonna get a lens flare. I'll put it back there. That way I don't have to color anymore because I'm tired of coloring buildings. Like, this one's good enough. This one,
All right. So that's pro tip from the triple threat. If you get tired, if you get tired and you don't want to color every window, Rick, we have a little running joke about stupid windows. It's like if you don't ever want to like color or render every little window, go the pro tip route with the triple threat and just do a nice J.J. Abrams lens flare. I think that's really cool.
And that's not even my pro tip. I learned that from artists. I think Mark Silvestri one time was talking. They had a video where him, Todd McFarlane, I think Rob Liefeld were drawing with Stan Lee. It's like an old How to Draw the Marvel Way, but like a VHS tape. It's old. VHS tape.
You can actually find them on YouTube.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, and at one point he talks about, if I don't want to draw the whole background, I'll draw a beach ball flying by, or there's birds going across, so I don't have to draw all the buildings. And I was like, that is so smart, because I hate drawing buildings.
And we all know, speaking of Liefeld, it is okay to teach you to teach. If you can't draw hands, if you can't draw backgrounds, just put some smoke around. Just hide it in smoke.
There you go.
If you can't draw feet, just put smoke in front of the feet, right, Rick?
Yeah. Draw it off panel.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's really cool. But you know what? People, we joke about that, and I think a true artist, though, even if there are things that either they don't want to like completely render, or maybe that they're weaker at, they find ways, not in a crutch kind of way. They figure out what their strengths are and they play to that. And Vic, I don't see very many weaknesses in your illustrations and stuff like that. And your colors are superb. They're sublime. And I think that you found ways, even though you said you didn't want to do that. I think that if you didn't do the lens flare thing, I think you would have really pulled it off. I think you just had a little bit of that artist fatigue and said, you know what? There are different ways to handle it. And that's what's really cool about you being the penciler, the inker, and the colorist, is that even though it's a lot of work because you're doing the role of three people, you get to that point and you can kind of say, hey, what can I do to complement thing at the very end? And I think that's really cool here because here we are. I wanted to show Spider-Man here because Spider-Man is going to be the subject of our first live drawing challenge. And Spider-Man has a special place in Vic's heart in terms of his artistic journey. So Rick,
you can see behind him as well. There's Spider-Man behind him.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. He has those
action figures. Yeah.
Oh, that would be an understatement. Those are hot toys, which are like.
Excuse me.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to like take. I just wanted to like let you know those are serious. I mean, if you want to talk about action figures, go buy a Marvel Legends figure. And those are kind of expensive. They're like $20 a pop. But Rick, these I didn't mean that to sound kind of close with you. I just want to let you know those things are works of art. They are the epitome of. I mean, I guess people could call them action figures. I want to call them. I mean, they're like hyper superposable. Movie precise like representations. That you
are you selling them?
I just want to say that
like a promoter right now.
I just got to say that.
Are we being secretly sponsored by them right now?
Maybe. I think it would be great to have a Hot Toy sponsorship, but I just want to say that Vic didn't mess around. He loves Spider-Man. He's going to get the very best representation that you can get in an action figure form, and that is Hot Toys. And
those ones are a long time coming. I've known about Hot Toys for who knows how long, and then go check the price and be like, "Ooh, no." So I had to save up, and then use the excuse of a birthday. To be like, hey, you know what? I want for my birthday.
Speaking of my birthday, it's Wednesday, y'all. I like Hot Toys.
Oh,
there you go.
All right.
Hopefully they'll sponsor you guys and you both get some.
Yeah, I'm check your mail. I'm gonna be sending something out to Denmark and to LA. Hopefully it won't get lost in the mail because but yeah, I've saved up for you guys. You both can expect Hot Toys in the mail. So because we have a great endorsement from Hot Toys on Comics Cast. So while I'm coming down back to reality, let's get into our first live drawing challenge. And Spider-Man is something that, like I said, is definitely is so inspirational as a character to so many artists. And you got to see Vic's interpretation right here, and we're gonna go live draw this. So again, this is Rick's favorite part of the show because that's where I start. I hand the interview duties off to him. And
this thing is gonna get good, Vic. Finally.
This is where it gets good. This is where it gets real.
The first hour of Yarrow, now it gets good.
Yeah. So Ricky should be happy. I'm being pretty good about like my time management. We're right here at the beginning of
I didn't even have to yell at you today.
I know. I feel like I'm missing something, and it's you yelling at me.
So annoying.
Yeah.
You're taking that away from me.
Okay, so I want everybody to check out. This is Vic's interpretation of Spider-Man. At least one of them. He's done many versions of him as well. And this is his. I think we talked about this yesterday. He's your I want to call it your comfort character. Like when you get artist block.
I'll get those artist blocks, and one way I get out of it is like I'll just draw Spider-Man. I know he's easy. I have no problem drawing him, and I could just draw his face, draw whatever real quick, and
Well, it's easy. You make it look easy. That's what I'm gonna say. You make it look great, and let's get. I'm gonna get my drawing cam up here. I don't really think we need to have a reference here. You definitely get for our audience.
Everybody should know who Spider-Man.
Yeah, they should. So this is Spider-Man. We're gonna get to see the magic happen, materialize before our eyes. And
Roy and Noni, I know Noni is watching as well. You two draw Spider-Man.
Oh, so Rick is calling our guest out. Yeah, that's another thing about
audience.
Yeah, our audience. This is the difference about Let It Out is that we have a audience participation component. I hope that everybody's becoming fanboys of Vic's artwork, because we're checking that out here. We encourage our audience to draw along with us. And if you do, let us know in the comments field that you did draw and then post it to our sister page, which is the art show. Rick will be keeping an eagle eye on the comments section. And at the end we're going to do, I think, 15 minutes for this, 15 to 20 minutes. Rick is going to be the timekeeper. He gets to control this whole segment. So you can just tell he's smiling right now. He's like, yes, I get to do this. So I'm going to shut up a little bit. I'll probably come in there a little bit, but I want Vic to kind of like tell us a little bit about his influences with Spider-Man. And
Hey.
Okay. Let me get my art cam up, and now it's up to you, Rick.
Stop telling Vic what to say. It's my turn now.
All right.
Okay, so let's get started. 15 minutes from let's stop, Gerald. It's my turn now. Stop.
I got you. It's all you. Go for it.
Thank you. So you've seen the newest, probably seen the newest trailer for the new Spider-Man, correct, Vic?
Oh yeah.
Looks
fantastic.
I love this as well. What I've seen a lot of comments going back and forth, but what I haven't seen comments about is actually, do people not realize the background music that is used is actually from the original Spider-Man classic cartoon animated?
Is it? Oh,
yeah.
I didn't know that.
I picked it up. I knew it.
Yeah, a lot of people did. Oh, you're so good, Gerald. But a lot of people actually didn't even notice. I was like, wait a second, that sounds familiar.
Yeah, I had no idea. I was just so in awe of the trailer that I didn't even listen to the music.
So I've only watched it 3 times, and I can still only see Green Goblin and Dr. Octopus being there. But people are saying that there's a Scorpion as well. But I just don't see. Did you guys see anything other than the obvious?
I didn't see that.
Yeah, I know there's one scene where people are saying it's the lizard.
Yeah.
Jumping out. I can't see it. I've seen videos of where people try to brighten it up and clean it. I don't see it. Definitely it looks like Electro's in it, and definitely looks like Sandman, because at one scene you see the electricity come down, and it looks like the electricity. It looks like the ground comes up to protect Spider-Man. So,
that's a.
So I don't know. Maybe he's going to be in it and still be a good guy. So
I will admit, Sandman was the best thing from Spider-Man 3, and that's the Tobey Maguire.
You didn't like the emo
Maguire dancing queen.
Oh, no. I figured you would have liked the emo dancing.
Oh, why? Are you calling me an emo? Wow.
No. You totally read way too much.
The name calling. Wow.
I said I thought you would like it. I didn't call you an emo guy. And you know what? I like emo.
I've done this for a little bit over a year now, and I don't know how. With all this calling me emo and name calling and.
I was not. You know what? I like emo music. So how about that? You can hold that over me. I think
like the animal.
Emo like and Nickelback. I like Nickelback too.
Oh God. Okay.
You just lost half your viewers right now.
Yeah, you just lost half your. No, we've had this talk before where he was disliked very profusely, but we won't go there. So Vic, Spider-Man seems like to be one of your maybe favorite, or maybe even your favorite character of all times. Who is your favorite superhero villain then?
Oh, such a good question.
I come up with the good questions.
Yeah, that's a good one. I know because I like Spider-Man, everybody's gonna say it's probably Venom, but no, I think I love the Joker because not only is he just like the perfect character, like villain for Batman or really anybody, he's amazing. But you see so many different interpretations of the Joker. So many different styles. Like if somebody's drawing Venom, a lot of times it's big teeth, tongue out. Sometimes it's even hard to tell who drew it. But when you see the Joker, everybody has their own style when it comes to them. Whether like he has crazy hair, whether he's like his hair slicked back, he's dressed really nice, or he's in tattered clothes. Everybody always draws him so different, and I think that's one of the things I like, that no matter who draws him or how they draw them, the moment you see him, you go, that's the Joker. Like, oh man, the Joker just came out.
Also in TV series and movies, as an example, so completely different.
Yeah, you look at Heath Ledger's Joker
Yeah, from Jack Nicholson's.
Yeah, you know, when the Joker with Joaquin Phoenix came out, everybody was like, "Oh man, that's how the Joker started." And I was like, "No, that seems like a different version, just because his interpretation of him was so different." And you know,
I
that's
think
one of the
it's.
things I like.
I think like maybe that's some multiverse thing for some reason, but it works. Anywho, I like Joker just like you, mostly because, well, he he is the main antagonist in some of the best superhero stories of all
Yeah,
time. And we can and he's also his own character, not just a semi copy of the superhero he's the villain of. Like
yes,
Venom is basically just evil Spider-Man
yeah,
in a way, right? And he also got Scorpion, who's also just a counter to a spider.
hmm
But Joker and Batman, the only resemblances they have is like when Nightwing says that Joker is the chaos to Batman's order,
hmm
and they can't survive without each other. There's
yes.
just so much good between in the Joker role. A recent story they had going called the Three Jokers was really interesting. Like there was actually more than one Joker.
Oh, I did not read
It's
that
a
one.
newer DC storyline. It's really good.
Oh yeah, you know, I have seen the artwork for that, but you know, I haven't read the book yet.
It's really good.
I'm gonna have to check that out now.
And
Yeah, he's just
speaking of Joker, did create my favorite DC character of all time, Red Hood, Jason Todd.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Harley Quinn.
No, no, please.
Not a Harley Quinn fan?
Yeah, he all right.
She's alright. Okay.
Jason Todd, the story behind Jason Todd, I always really been a huge fan of, and you can thank Joker for him. So
Well, he's also one of
Joker,
those characters too. Like, you know, you have like certain characters that are just, you know, Green Goblin. You really only see him with Spider-Man. He rarely pops up anywhere else. As opposed to Joker, you know, you could have him in the Flash. You can have him everywhere because
exactly, he can be everywhere and not be odd with it. I mean, he might be a little odd hero for Aquaman to fight in the ocean, but it could be done.
Well, I'd like to see it. Just draw him in like some snorkeling gear, and
Yeah,
there you go.
it wouldn't be the oddest thing Joker has done.
That is true.
So watching your progress here, as I see it, and as most audience know, I come from, and this is also where I saw Vic the first time from How to Draw Comics group, and your approach seems very dominant in with the same approach that they teach, like block the figure in first, and then is the when you returned was How to Draw Comics one of your first groups to find, or did that come way later?
It actually was, and that's when we had talked a while back. You know, I was going on there and I was like, you know, wanting to see what everybody was doing. And, you know, when you take time off, you kind of forget how you approached the page or how you did things before. So I think it was, oh man, I'm trying to remember his name right now. Ed?
Yeah, Ed Feitchuk.
Yeah, he did a post on blocking characters, I believe.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, that works. You know, especially coming back digital. I was like, that'll make it so much easier, save so much time, you know, blocking out the characters that way that you know, I don't have to be as tight. Because when I originally used to draw, my pencils were really tight, like right from the get-go. I would start drawing and then I would draw myself into a corner. I would you know, be like, well, what am I going to do with this leg now? I can't raise his leg above, you know, his body at all because I've already penciled in the body, and to go in there and erase it, it's just you know, going to damage the paper because I used to draw really hard on the paper, so that way I wouldn't smear it as much. But yeah, once I think it was Ed, and I saw him blocking characters. He did a post or a video. I can't remember which one it was. And I was like, that's so much easier to just come in very loose, block out the whole character. Then I could come in with my, pencils and just, start figuring everything out. And also too, like if I come in really loose with my pencils, if I don't like an arm position or anything else, I can just go in and change it, like keep drawing right over it, because I'm not worried about, smudging the page or ruining the paper or anything like that. And being loose and blocking out like that, it really helps you figure out the form and how you want the character to look, how you want him flowing on the page.
Exactly.
With everything else. So,
Also, the problem with if you start with like really tight lines is your characters 9 times out of 10 end up looking really stiff. Like, robot like.
And that was my problem. All my characters look really, really stiff. I tell people that have asked me, I tell them, you know what, it really helps to block it out, and you know what, go in there. Don't be afraid to use reference. Don't be afraid to.
Completely agree.
Yeah. Don't be afraid. It helps. And then once you. Oh, what happened? Oops. Let's see. Did I hit stop? I think I might have hit stop on screen share.
No, I see your screen still.
Okay.
Very, very not. I think there was just a little lag on your end a little bit.
Oh, okay.
But it's all good.
Yeah,
reference. I speak highly about it every time it comes up. Gerald knows this. He's probably tired of me talking about it, but reference is really important, because how will you know?
Yeah, and
how will you know?
Yeah, and don't be afraid to look elsewhere other than comics. If you're drawing comics, it's great to reference comics, but go look at animation. Go look at a Pixar movie. Go look at the comic book movies. See how the characters in there are moving.
I use professional athletes like gymnastics. Yes. If I need something really moving in the air or something like that, ballet dancers. For my reference, at least to find the form and how they're gonna stand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know when sometimes I'll get an artist block and I can't find exactly what I'm looking for. I'll get I have like a modeling program, that has the characters you could bend and pose that you're looking for, and then I'll take that, use that as a reference.
Yeah. Let me guess. Does 3D Studio, maybe?
Oh no, it's just like a free one that came on my phone, because once I got the
Magic Poser, maybe.
I think so. Yeah, that's the one. I got the pose that I want, I start sketching it out. I don't copy over the pose, because I still feel like even those modelers are very stiff.
Yeah.
And I want to bring life into the character.
Yeah, for sure. Completely agree with you. But see, this is also something I actually commend Gerald for, is when we're speaking of blocking it out, is even though his method is very scribbly and wonky, it does end up being very dynamic and very bending and action-packed characters he comes up with that, because he does it like that. He builds it up slowly and steady with his wonky curvy lines, and it just works. It just helps, and I can't wait for his own IP to come out.
Yeah, when is that coming out?
Me too. I can't wait till when that happens myself.
It's in the works.
It's in the works. Yeah. Hey, and let's talk about the
Now, before we do, 2 minutes left.
2 minutes? Oh my gosh. I spent so much time trying to come up with a dynamic pose that I don't think I'll have time to really come up with the details, but that's okay. I really want to.
You can always finish later.
That's true.
Just for showing, a showing after all.
Yeah, but I wanted to talk about the elephant in the room, because I think that
I'm not that fat. Wow.
Well,
that's coming now.
Well, no, just because Rick mentioned of course the new Venom movie, but let's talk about like the movie that has rocked the animation industry, which was the Into the Spider-Verse. Vic and I talked about that yesterday. Like Vic, tell us about what you, because I thought it was so funny when I talked to you about it. You told me you initially hated it, right?
Tell I did. Like,
I know. I said what?
I want to hear this. Five more minutes, guys.
Yes, my plan works.
Damn it, Yarrow.
Yeah, I'm embarrassed to say when the first trailer came out, somebody was like, "Hey, what did you think about that?" And I was like, "I don't like it." Why does Spider-Man seem like a loser in that thing? Like, I like Miles Morales, but like, why are they making Spider-Man such a loser? And then, being a Spider-Man fan, I still went to go see it, and I walked out of movie ends, and I'm like, man, the movie was amazing. That is such a good movie. I can't believe I was like, I don't want to. That movie looks dumb.
I love that movie so much that as soon as I went out from it, I stepped back in line for the next one.
Oh, that movie's so great. There's so many good elements about it, and once I saw it and I saw why Spider-Man was the way he was, Ben Parker, I was like, it makes perfect sense. I did the internet thing and I just jumped the gun and jumped to my own conclusions. I was like, I'm not gonna like this movie because, they're not doing it a certain way. But then, you go see the movie and you're like, oh well, Aunt May died. He divorced Mary Jane. Like, this guy's falling apart.
Yeah.
This is come back as a girl.
The worst time Peter ever. So it makes sense.
Yeah, it really did. Yeah. Oh, I love the movie now. Like, that's
at least you weren't so internet like that. You just reluctantly refused to start liking it, no matter what. Like some people on the internet do.
Yeah, no, I saw that movie and I was just like, oh my movies. I was laughing the whole way. Just I was in awe over some of the scenes.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, they can do this in an animation. Why don't they do this in a live action movie, something like that? And I think they heard the fans, and that's what this No Way Home is going to be. It's going to be the fans, them answering the fans and being like, yeah.
I hope so, because that trailer to me kind of gave me the same feeling that the trailer to Into the Multiverse gave you, Vic. I'm worried about it. The whole Stephen Strange part and everything. I mean, everybody has seen the trailer by now, so I'm gonna talk about what's happening. He's doing a spell, right?
Mm-hmm.
At the first, and he's supposed to be the Sorcerer Supreme, but he can't focus when a teenager is yapping in his ear. What the heck? Is that all it takes? Is that all it takes to unfocus the damn Sorcerer Supreme?
I never thought of it that way.
I mean, come on.
Well, I've heard some really good theories about it. Like, with all the other shows they have, like he's a variant that.
He's a Skrull. He's a Skrull.
Maybe he is Mephisto, and because it's loosely based on I believe it's one fine day, I don't remember the name of it.
One last day. I think.
One last day.
Yep.
So I think they're going with that. So,
but even Mephisto would be strong enough, right?
Well, maybe he's just trying to make it look like he's making a mistake, but when he's really screwing things up. I don't know. It's going to be kind of interesting to see what they do with it, because I have to agree with Rick. I was a little not too as psyched as I thought I would be when I first saw it, but I'm going to be open-minded about it, because it's all about hero's journey, right? You got to find, even though he's Sorcerer Supreme, there's going to be, if you have some flaws that are worked in there, then maybe that makes for a better story.
Yeah.
That's why you have Wong. You have Wong to mess up.
That's right.
It's Wong's work to mess up, not Strange.
I see movie trailers and I'll get my hopes up, but it's been too many times that I've been burned by a movie trailer that I'm always a little hesitant with the movie. Yeah. And I've enjoyed the majority of the Marvel movies that I'm like, oh, when I got I'm probably gonna like this one because I've enjoyed them. But oh man, I hope they can pull this one off, because this one seems big. It seems like finally we're getting a big Spider-Man story in the MCU. You know, he's always,
we see a Spider-Man story that is actually tied into the overall story that they seem to be building with the timelines and the variants and all that.
You know, the other movie was, he fought the Vulture, and I enjoyed the other two, but I really feel they haven't shown everything he can do as a character.
Exactly.
He's he can take bigger threats, and that's even if he fails, he doesn't stop, he doesn't give up, and that's one of the things I absolutely love about the character. And I feel like in these movies, there's always been like, oh, well, let's give him this character to help him. Let's give this character to help him.
I
think this one needs to be Spider-Man.
I mean, I like it. I've liked his previous movies. I do like Night Monkey a little bit more. I must admit,
you like the name. You like the name.
That's it reminds me of you, Gerald.
No,
but I'll have to say pencils down now.
Oh, okay. I milked out a little bit of time.
And this time, just to be annoying, we'll start with Gerald.
Why is mine up first? We're supposed to show our guest first.
We're saving the best for last.
Okay. All right. So I got so worked up on trying to come up with a dynamic pose because our guest does such crazy pose work that I wasn't able to put in a lot of detail, but I wanted to do some of that extreme foreshortening and so here he is. He's like, I don't know, maybe he can make it look like he's upside down. I don't know. That'd be kind of neat. but anyway, it was really fun doing that. So what do you guys think?
I think it's good.
I like it.
I like it as well. I've seen you do a Spider-Man before in similar position, but I do like it. I really love it. And Aurelius Delgato, as always, comes in with the compliments, telling that both of you have great talent. He's also apparently waiting for Wonky's Iceman.
I got a list of artwork that I got to do for other people. It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. But Aurelius, it's coming. Don't worry about it.
Let's jump to Wix now, and I
want to see Vix. Let's see Vix.
And I'll check Archeo if anyone participated. I hope Noni and Mercado participated.
Vic,
this one is good.
This looks awesome. I like it.
Trying to get something simple, fast down. Yes, Sarah's right. Bro, you need to move to the inking stage now.
Yeah, let's zoom. Can you zoom in? Let's look at some of these. I like the textures that you're already putting in there, and what I like about yours versus what I did, I made him super muscular and stuff like that. I like yours because he looks like a younger Peter Parker.
I like to draw Spider-Man a little bit thinner.
Yeah.
I know a lot of guys. I really liked John Romita Jr. He drew Spider-Man. He drew this really skinny Spider-Man, and I just like the look of it because I'd seen Spider-Man drawn so big and buff before that I like when he's standing next to other characters. He's like this small guy, but he can hold his own.
I get you, and you really capture, I think, the youthfulness. And I know that people like McFarlane, he made him look more arachnid, so that he looks like he'd be able to contort his body in weird ways. But I like the youthful nature that you put into your version. So very, very cool work. When you get a chance, if you want to polish this up, I'd love to show this later on and post it on the Comics Cast.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna save this one and I'll finish it up later.
Check it out. That's really cool. All right. So Rick, did anybody in our audience?
I have not seen anything yet.
Oh, not yet.
Roy, Noni,
calling out our audience.
Victor Rufino.
Well, I guess we should keep on.
Look, see. That looks awesome. Sadly, I missed this one, so I'm skipping to the second and third. Oh, so he's gonna be in there. He just promised here.
Okay.
He's gonna be with us. Sarah returned home in good time as well from classes, cool. So she's hopefully gonna join in. So no, Sarah, this was the first one.
Yeah.
You're actually in good time today. This is the first challenge.
Especially
the best is yet to come.
That's what I was gonna say. It's Rick's favorite challenge, which is the Rick challenge, is coming up here. So all right. So let's get a new digital palette for you, Vic. If you want to make sure you save that, and let's get a blank canvas here because Rick is gonna revel in this particular challenge. He loves to try and stump me, and I always tell him, be very sympathetic to our guests. He can totally butcher me and make me suffer, but got to make sure that our guests are comfortable here. So
I did, because actually today I was in the pre-show. I was in the green room before Tiago showed up, so I had a chance to ask Vic a little bit about my idea for a challenge. And luckily, I'm not gonna be way too mean to him, but I have a feeling I'm gonna be. Yeah. So Tiago, how big of a fan are you of South Park?
Oh no.
Yes. So South Park once made a computer game called Fractured But Whole, and yes, it's supposed to sound like that, where they dress up as superheroes with their own particular names. So what I have here for you guys is, one second. What I have here is the Wheel of Jarrell's Misfortune. With the names of all the heroes and members. As you can see, there's the Coon, there's Mysterion,
I have no idea. Who are these characters?
Super Crack, Wonder Twig, Captain Diabetes, my favorite, Tupperware, Fast Pass, Mosquito, and Call Girl.
Call Girl.
So what? Yeah, I have a little. Don't worry, I have a little. There's a little story coming with all the names.
Okay, because
depending on what we land on. So
I'm wondering where you're going with this. I really.
So
am.
you'll have a little more idea of what they are. What I basically will want you to do is be creative and draw what you think when you say as your choice. You know how this goes, Jared. We've done this similar thing before.
I guess so.
Where you only get the name and have to be creative.
Okay. All right. So let's.
Yes, Roy. There's nothing. Not all of this is guys friendly. It's not that kind of cold girl. Dirty people. Okay, so
all right. Let's do Vic first.
Yeah. Who are you hoping for?
The Coon. He's my favorite. He's got the best lines. Super Craig. I'll go with Super Craig.
Okay, so there's a little here with Super Craig.
I totally missed this South Park episode, so I have no idea.
No, it's a game.
Oh, it's a game. Yeah, there's two video games out of it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I totally don't know.
This is the info days of Super Craig. Charging into battle, Super Craig uses super strength and a powerful sense of indifference to defeat evil. Accompanied by his hamster Stripe, he's a proud member of Coon and Friends.
That sounds so funny. Okay, Vic, you got a challenge.
Yeah.
Well, see, the issue and just to say right now, people at home, I can't roll for you guys. So you pick the name that you find funniest and go from there, or just go along with Vic or Jarrell's pick. Here, are you ready, Jarrell?
I am ready.
Is there a name here that you think sounds easier to do than the other?
They are all like total. I have no clue. This is like on the same level as what was the character that I didn't know?
Dude Love.
Dude Love. Yeah. Who do I got?
Fast Pass.
Fast Pass. Sounds like something that you would use to go through a toll booth. I got Easy Pass and his brother Fast Pass. Yeah.
Lightning quick in battle and in wit. Jimmy Walmer adopts the persona of Fast Pass to fight crime. Fast Pass uses speed to blindside his opponent. When he's not fighting side by side with the new kid, Fast Pass helps citizens travel quickly throughout South Park with his fast travel stations.
That sounds so funny. Alrighty. So these are actual characters in the game, in the South Park game.
Yeah.
I have never played that game. Okay, so
even if you haven't played it,
uh-huh.
once this is over, just go look up clips.
Yeah. Oh no! I will also share how they look like in the game when we're done.
When we're done. See, Vic.
I want to see. This is the challenge. I want to see your versions of what you think when you from only what you heard from me with the name and the description.
Oh, even if we don't remember what they look like, I have to go off the description.
Oh,
yeah, go from the description and name.
Okay.
That I used and you landed on like.
Okay, so do we have to do it in the South Park style?
No. Draw it as a comic book hero, action hero.
Oh, okay. All right. So
like you did, like I told you to do with the wrestling Dude Love.
Oh, okay.
Where you only got the name and you drew a character from that. It's the same. It's the same idea.
Okay. Alrighty.
No, Roy, it does not. It's just have to. What do you think of creatively from what I've mentioned about and the hero name?
Okay. All right. So we're starting now. We're starting.
Yeah, we're starting now, and 20 minutes.
So I am doing Fast Pass and
Vic is doing Super Craig.
Okay. All right, Fast Pass.
So, what is your first thought of when you think Super Craig? If you had to think about him just without knowing anything about him, Vic.
Oh, without knowing.
I know that's a tough question because
that's a tough question because I love the game. The game was amazing. Like I played both of them, so it's really hard to just go off the description because I'm like, oh well, Craig always has the beanie on, and being a huge South Park fan, I'm like, oh wow, this one's gonna be tough. And with the super hamster, this one's gonna be tough.
Yeah. I like that the super hamster is mentioned. Roy, any name you saw on the wheel you could use, or you could use one of. I actually want to see you do Call Girl, Roy. You go do Call Girl.
Off the description.
That sounds funny. Yeah, give him Call Girl.
Yeah, Call Girl is basically a superhero that uses the powers of social media.
Oh, social media.
to like or dislike the enemies.
It's like Call Girl says, thumbs down.
Yeah,
you get no thumbs.
So Fast Pass, obviously, Jarrell, has to have something to do with speed.
Yep, I'm
hoping you've gotten further than that as well.
That's all I have to go on.
Well, that's a good start then.
Uh-huh.
So have you? So you're a big South Park fan, Vic?
Yeah. I've watched it for years.
I've actually started rewatching it. I just got the 25th season.
20. How many seasons were there?
I think there's almost around 30 now.
Oh my god!
They're still running. They're still running.
So they're definitely they've outdone the Simpsons in terms of like the longest animated series, or are the Simpsons? The Simpsons aren't on anymore, are they? I know they had the record for.
The Simpsons are still going.
Oh, the Simpsons has the record of the longest running ongoing without pauses. I believe is the record.
Okay.
Where South Park have had years of breaks in between.
Yeah,
because they've gotten canceled a few times. I wonder why. Really.
I know that's nothing but wholesome entertainment.
Yeah,
that the whole family can enjoy.
Who's your favorite character of South Park, Vic? That is not one of the main characters.
Oh, not one of the main characters?
Yeah.
Oh, there's so many. I'm going to say. Oh wow. I'm gonna have to go with. Can't remember his name right now. Stan's dad. He's just.
Randy Marsh.
Randy Marsh.
Yeah.
He has an episode
I was about to say this again as well as mine. I thought this was America.
Yes, that's exactly what I was
America.
saying. Favorite episode. He goes to the Little League games and just starts picking fights with everybody. And starts being like, hey, that's my guy. That's the guy I'm going to fight. Just the greatest episode. Somebody who used to coach the Little League and was a vice president, you see the parents fighting, and I was like, that's exactly what Little League is like. You get the parents fighting all the time.
It's just
so
because,
real. Yeah, I was like, over a little kid's baseball game. Like, knock it off.
So
yeah, Randy by far is my favorite character. They did a pandemic special.
I haven't seen that one yet. I think it's one of the newer ones. I just started recently over. I come to season 6 now. So
you have to see it. Basically, Randy comes up with a cure for the pandemic, but I'm not going to tell you how he does it because that would
probably by fasting or something.
A little worse than that. So you're definitely gonna have to watch it.
Nice. So what about your main characters of all characters you can choose?
I'm gonna say it's a tie between Cartman and Butters.
Butters a tweak for me. I love a tweak.
Oh yeah.
And Jerry is probably as lost as last time I had a wrestling fan.
I am lost.
We were talking because Daryl is lost about the talking when his face is directly into his face and he's just working.
Yeah, it's just South Park is one of those shows that when it came out, it was so controversial, and they still are. They're still pushing the envelope. There's so many episodes out now that I'm like, wow, how are they still able to do the show?
How are they not canceled?
Yeah. There's a documentary called 6 Days to Wednesday, I believe it is, where it shows the behind the scenes of South Park and how they make South Park, what goes into the process, and showing how they do the animation for the show in 6 days. They do an entire episode. And
even though the animation is simple, that's still good. That's still amazing.
Yeah. But it's what's impressive is that, they're talking and they're like, these are the same computers they used to make the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park. And you're like, wow, like that's the same thing. Like, it's crazy.
And you used them for circle.
Yeah, you use them for these little circle cutouts all the time. Yeah, exactly.
So you've never seen South Park, Joel?
I watched in college. I remember watching. Was it Jesus versus Satan? I think that was the pilot episode. I don't remember. That was a long time ago. I've only watched little episodes here. I mean, a few episodes here and there, but I'm not quite as well versed as the two of you are with it. But I'm just like you said, when we had our wrestling guest. I'm learning about about all these. I'm gonna take notes and watch all these episodes that you're talking about.
I can send you a link to the best of YouTube,
South Park.
Best of YouTube. Best ways to get offended quickly. That's basically what South Park is good for.
Yeah. If you
test how easily offended you are. Watch some South Park.
Yeah, I guess that's the thing about South Park. It's equal opportunity offensiveness, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yep. They do not hold back. There's times where you and I is going oh,
where are they going with this?
Oh, that might be a little far. Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's an episode where they make Butters, who's just the nicest character on the whole show. They make him a pimp basically at the school.
Yeah.
And the whole time watching that, I was just thinking to myself, can they be doing this? This is just so over the top even for them. And then you watch the next episode and they go even farther.
The episodes with Timmy and Jimmy is the worst ones for me. It's they're going that far because those are the two quote unquote handy capable characters in there, and they're really pushing those ones.
Oh yeah. Especially when they have them. There's an episode where they have them fight, and they do the entire fight scene from. I think the movie's called They Live.
Yeah.
They just copy that fight scene shot for shot the whole way through, and it's hilarious.
Well, the best part of those shows when they know they're going too far is because is when the four main characters, the boys, are like, "Yep, we're not getting involved."
Yeah,
with
we're not a part of this. We're out. Yeah, even they know.
So I have to mention before Gerald takes over again. We were, as many of you audience know, we were doing a fundraiser some months back, and Vic was actually one of those that funded to get a reward tier from me. And I messaged him and asked what he wanted, and I think we had talked in a good like half an hour or more a week when I was like, wait a minute, I realize who I'm talking to here.
Oh, you didn't know who it was?
I was, well, in my defense, I had spoken with 15 other people beforehand and had 5 more to go. So, but yeah, I was like, yeah, I've seen this guy in How to Draw Comics. I followed his progress a lot as well, and I have to admit, Vic, I have not seen you a lot lately in there, but seeing from how I remember you started to where you are right now, I can easily see the passion is fully back with you, and you're just rising with almost every new piece you come up with, and I'm really impressed with your work ethic.
Thank you. Yeah, when I was posting there a lot, and then when I took my break and I came back, I wasn't posting as much. Which I probably should be to gain a following or have people see my artwork. But yeah, I'm loving artwork again. I'm just driven by being able to create characters, and and I love that. I love that page. The How to Draw Comics. It's nice to have somewhere where artists can go, and they can get critiques and don't have to feel like it's somebody just picking on them, like just picking on them because they want to. Yeah.
Unless it's Gerald critique. According to our fellow friend Joe Tolliver, that's what I do when I critique Gerald. I pick on him and being mean.
And it's great, because like there's not a lot of I think I was trying to tell this yesterday. There's a lot of times there's people that have what I call yes men around them. So they'll do a drawing and everybody around them is like, yes, that's amazing. Yes, that's so great. And to grow as an artist, you need some kind of critique, because if somebody's maybe doesn't have an artist background or isn't an artist, they may not be seeing your major flaws like somebody else who draws would.
Exactly.
I was lucky enough to have somebody that I could say, hey, look, I finished this piece, and then they would say, yeah, that's not very good. Like I've seen you do better. You can do better than that. And, then that drives you to be like, I'll show you how to draw, how I can draw better or make a better piece.
It pushes your ego.
It pushes you. It drives you.
Yeah.
I think in the art community, especially comics, you have to have such thick skin that you can't have everyone telling you like, oh, you're so great, you're so amazing. You need someone to be honest and say, hey, you know what, that looks really good, but hey, that hand's kind of wonky. Hey, maybe work on your hands a little bit. It helps you as an artist. It helps you grow, and it helps you to keep on learning. One of the things I tell people so much is never stop learning. Never think I've reached it. I made it. I'm the best. Like I can draw anything, because there's always something you knew you could learn. There's always, a new lesson that will help you be a new artist. I know that, I never look at somebody's art or somebody's video and then say, wow, that's really bad, because I don't know what that artist knows. They might have a tip that's going to help me get even better. help me
There's
become a better
always something you can get out of watching other
Yeah,
artists.
so like,
So one shape or another. Like I've been a painter all my life. I can't do line work build up like you two guys. I've never done that, like really done that. And I do believe that will be one of my next steps.
Yeah, I can't, and I can't paint for the life of me. I've attempted it, and I'm like, I don't know how guys do this. I'm over there watching Bob Ross videos, thinking like, well, maybe I'll try painting. This looks really easy.
And all your clouds comes out angry instead of heavy.
Yeah, they're just like it just got awful. I was like, how did that guy do that in like 15 minutes?
My clouds looks angry. What's going on?
Yeah.
But yeah, actually, me critiquing in the way I do actually is how me and Gerald became best friends.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We are best friends, Gerald. Shut up.
I was gonna say I'm about ready to shed a tear because I've never heard Rick refer to me as a best friend. Oh my gosh. Yeah, but he likes to. If we're gonna talk about, Vic was like saying about having that yes person that's around you. Well, yeah. I got a no person that's around me, and that's Rick. Rick, no, Gerald, you gotta fix. No, that's wrong, Gerald. Got to fix that.
You know what? It helps you to continue to grow.
It does. It's constructive.
It's also, as I tell Gerald, that just because I only give him the critiques doesn't mean that he should also remember the things I don't point out, because those are the good things. The things I don't talk about are the good things, because those are not worth mentioning when I'm trying to help him improve, after all. So he does do good things, but I'm focused on the things he could do better.
Yeah. And if you get a critique from somebody, especially like, if anyone's never gotten critiqued by an editor, a lot of times their job is to tear your artwork apart and to be like, make you a better artist. So, don't get upset by it. I've been at conventions where guys like storm off and they're like, what do you know? They'll even have like, girlfriends, moms, and things like that come in, and they're like, they're the best.
They had their mom.
Really ridiculous. Yeah, I was at a convention one time where this guy had some artwork, and he all of a sudden stormed off, and we were like, oh man, this guy must be harsh. And then his mom came back, and we only know it was his mom because she kept saying like, well, my son's art is this, and he's like, oh, that's his mom. Like, she must be his agent, or
Oh God. Yeah, that'll help him. That'll help him set his mama after. Yeah.
That's what I say.
My mom said this.
Well,
is your mama a famous
take
artist?
that negativity, turn it into a positive.
Yeah.
How much time do we have, Rick?
Glad you said that, y'all. Let's say 3 more minutes.
3 more minutes. Okay.
Yeah. I lost a little time because I'm having fun talking. So I don't know if I actually shared this story here, but when I was young, my stepfather is very militant, and at that time stepdad, and he wanted people. He was like wanted people to improve all the time, like really better themselves in that military kind of way. And every time I came up, I was only like 5 or 7, between 5 or 7, and I started drawing all back then. Every time I came to him and showed him a new piece of art, if it weren't better than the one that I had showed him previously, right, he will tear it up, literally tear it up in front of me, and say you can do better. But when I then came with something that was better, he would put it up on the fridge, like a quote unquote normal parents would do.
Tough love.
So I think that is where I have my attitude from, Gerald, when it comes with the way I critique and the way I talk about art and improvement in general.
Mm-hmm.
I think it stems from the tough love that I got, and it worked on me. I mean, I'm great.
And he also got humility from that, Vic.
Yeah,
He
I
got
am.
completely humble. Nothing. Yeah,
I'm the
totally.
humblest guy here.
Yes.
No, Roy, you're not meant to comment on that before you do. So yeah, time's up.
Time is up.
Yeah, I
Okay.
gave you a little bit more because I saw Vic struggling with finishing up lines, so he could just paste in color
Yeah.
at the background in the full. Gerald, I said stop.
I did stop. Oh.
No, Gerald, I said stop.
Okay. I stopped.
And remember, guys, art show. The link is right here for the art show. If you will have art to share, we would very much like to see it. But first, let's take the guest first then.
Yes, let's do that.
That came out wrong. But let's do it anyways. There
Wow.
we go.
Oh shoot!
Super Craig.
Look at that. You were inking it already. Oh geez.
Yeah. This one was tough because I knew exactly what the character looked like.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh man, how am I gonna, not think about the original character when drawing this? So
yeah, I get you. So you had I actually made it harder for you.
Yeah, you did. Like I had to create a.
Well, I knew you'd handle it.
It looks great. It looks awesome.
I absolutely love it. So are you ready? So here is how he actually looks. This is Super Craig in his normal view. But but at night he becomes Super Craig.
He gets his costume. There it is. Yeah.
It's just an S on his.
That is
the transformation, right?
Yeah.
Hey,
that's
wait, there's a play here. Let's see what this does. Oh.
Beefcake.
Oh. It's just a little showing of it all. Anyways,
so high tech.
Gerald.
Yes.
What a coincidence, Aurelis. I love it too. Fast pass. Oh my god.
This is fast pass.
I love him. He looks like a way skinnier the Flash, a more devilish, evil version. It looks good. That is Flash. That is Fast Pass, right?
Fast pass. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's see what fast pass is supposed to look like. I'd like this. I want to check that out.
Here is, as we said before, we talked about the Jimmy and Timmy, the two handicapable. This is Jimmy Walmer, and at night he turns into Fast Pass.
All right, are you gonna share it?
I do believe am I not showing it?
You're not showing it.
No.
Oh, there we go.
This is Fast Pass.
Oh, that looks so cool.
Day and night, and there's also a little video here.
Uh-huh. Oh, okay. Very cool. I'm gonna have to go back and Rick, you're gonna have to send me that list of the 25 best episodes of South Park, so I can feel like I can be with the cool kids, and you guys can talk about it, and I'll know what you guys are talking about. Because right now I'm the kid that's sitting at the table by himself who doesn't know. I'm like, I don't know anything about South Park.
This time, I knew he would do something in this style, but on the art show, we have Roy Mercado doing.
Oh, here we go.
Call Girl.
That looks awesome.
Oh, that's amazing.
I don't know what with the S with the line over it.
No anti-social media? I have no idea.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
But well, thank you, Roy. I think you topped me though. I think that just looks, it's like showing some love for Twitter. I think that's so cool.
Let me quickly update.
Very cool.
I know we also have a fast pass here from Sarah.
Oh, fast pass.
No, that's Call Girl as well.
That's
It's called. Yeah. Very cool, Sarah.
That's actually very close to how she looks in the game. Should we look as well?
Yeah. Good job, Sarah. Good job, Roy. Yeah. Let's check it out.
Let me just stop this here because that's how StreamYard functions. You have to do that first. Annoying. But yes, this is Call Girl. At day, her name is Wendy Testerberger.
Oh wait, you're not sharing it. You're not sharing it.
Ah, so unprofessional.
There you go. There we go.
So many screens, but yeah, here is Call Girl. At day, it's Wendy Testerberger, but at night, she becomes Call Girl.
Oh, that's so. It does look Sarah's composition does look like that. Yeah.
And here's a little info. Answering the call of justice, Call Girl disconnects criminals and places their evil ambitions and puts their evil ambitions on hold. Extending her influence from social media to the town of South Park, Wendy Testerberger uses technology and an army of followers to unfriend evil.
Unfriend evil. What a line. What a line.
Perfect. So
oh,
there we go.
Sarah.
It wasn't that kind of Call Girls that you were thinking of.
What was I thinking of?
I don't know.
What was I thinking
This is a PG show,
I was trying to get Rick to slip up there, but he's on to my wily ways.
Oh, okay. Sarah cheated.
Oh, looked it up. You looked it up.
Yeah, it doesn't count then. Sorry.
Sarah's being honest, though. She's being honest. Yeah. All righty. That was a fun challenge, Vic. Did you enjoy that one?
Yeah, that was cool.
Well, I guess you guys got to reminisce about South Park and me. I have.
Keep you out.
Yeah, leave me out. You got to leave me out.
That was my favorite part of
this. See, Vic. What I tell you, this is what I had. I come back every week for this. You know, this is what Rick brings to the show. That and those lovely backgrounds behind him.
Yeah.
But
that's the best one yet.
It is. All right, so let's move to our third drawing challenge. And you know what? It's kind of good that I'm doing this because our third drawing challenge is another character that's very near and dear to Vic's heart.
Can I guess now that you did this?
Yes.
Can I guess? Nightcrawler.
Oh, close. It's more like let me get some more props here. It's more like yes. I was trying to get my props here ready to go.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
It's like this.
Yeah.
But yes, this is a character that was very influential in Vic's art journey. He's going to tell us a little bit about why why this is a comfort character that he uses for warm up because he's obviously drawn Wolverine quite a bit, and we talked a little bit about Wolverine in the Fox universe, and now how we're going to be talking about. They're mentioning how they're going to introduce mutants into the MCU, so that's all up in the air. We have no idea how that's going to happen. But let's reset the clock, and Rick, I'm not going to tell you what you need to ask him about it. We're going to draw Wolverine. So let's go from there.
Oh, okay. 15 minutes. 15 minutes.
Yeah.
15 minutes.
Yep.
Yes. God damn it! You stumped me.
I know. I was like, why is Rick being so quiet?
Yes, you stumped me.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure. Like that was the start. Okay, yeah.
No. He just stumped me with questions. I had questions ready, and then he goes around and says, "I'm not gonna spoil it this time."
Yeah.
And then I turned blank. Thank you, Gerald.
You're welcome. I'm always glad to stump you. All right, let's start.
So Vic. We know Hugh Jackman isn't going to play Wolverine again. He stated as much.
Mm-hmm.
So, and seeing the rumors are really strong about X-Men coming to the MCU, who do you think? Who would you see as the perfect Wolverine taking over from Hugh Jackman? Yeah, I'm here with the groundbreaking.
Yeah, that's a tough one because
You can't say me, by the way.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, there goes.
Oh, well, gosh.
I can't.
Yeah, it's all out the window now.
Yeah. There's been talks of the guy who played Elton John in his biography.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
I forget his name. Yeah. And I've seen him in other movies, and he's got the physique. He's on the shorter side. You saw in that Elton John movie that he can act. So
also in his that ancient movie, I can't remember the name of Kingsman.
The Kingsman.
Yeah, he was great, and you could see that
He's a great actor.
He handles action very well. Robin Hood, yeah. So I think he's a good choice.
That's a good choice. I didn't even think of that. That's a good. Wow, you're good with.
Rick's mind is blown right now. He's like, "What?"
I actually see it in see it right now as the Ultimate Wolverine, like how he was depicted in the Ultimate Universe at first, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be
that sort of Wolverine look.
Yeah, it's going to be very hard to replace Hugh Jackman. I mean, I don't know too many other actors that can make a movie and it'd be bad, like Wolverine Origins, and people still love the character and the actor playing him. Like, he came out, I don't know how many times, cameos of Wolverine, and every time you see him, you'd be like, oh yeah, there's, huge, there's Wolverine. Like, you see him, that's him.
Oh, here's a good one from Brian Menard of Don't You Couldn't Comics. What about Daniel Radcliffe as an outside the box choice?
Oh wow,
Harry Potter.
Daniel Radcliffe also recently made that insanely crazy action movie.
Oh yeah,
that where he had
the guns tied to his hands.
Yeah.
I kind of could see it work. I mean, I'm all in for Taron all of a sudden now that you mention him, because he's basically just a young Hugh Jackman. He does really the same things as Hugh Jackman does. He sings and he acts and he's
I know there's been I've seen where people are like the Clint Eastwood's son.
Yep, that's what I was. Yeah,
I think because he's got that gruff, he's got that, he's got that tough look to him. But you got to remember, when Hugh Jackman came in, he was coming from, Broadway. He was coming from Oklahoma, and he came in and that was another one of those where I heard, this guy coming from, Broadway is going to play Wolverine, and I was like, what? I thought it was going to be like Russell Crowe or somebody like that.
Or the Venom guy, the Hardy.
Tom Hardy, yeah. But
also speculated for him to be Wolverine.
Tom Hardy's Venom's the only reason why I didn't say Tom Hardy, because Tom Hardy has
taken
perfect.
Yep.
Yeah, he's got that perfect physique for it, but he's already Venom, so I don't know if he would take on another comic book role. I would love for him to be Wolverine. I think he'd be perfect, but
everything Tom Hardy does is perfect.
To
be honest.
He's amazing. He's amazing.
I've always said if it ever happens that Tom Hardy and Keanu Reeves will be in the same movie, that will be my all-time best movie. even if the movie is about those two sitting ahead of each other and just having a conversation, it would still be my favorite all-time movie because those two can do nothing wrong.
Yeah.
John Wick versus Venom. Let's do it. It
can
happen. Go. Disney.
Are you listening to Rick?
Yeah. So what really drew you? Well, I'm pretty sure everybody knows the answer to this. That's a Wolverine fan. But Vic, what drew you to liking Wolverine as much as you do?
Wolverine was the first comic I ever owned. That I got, and I think I said it earlier. It was drawn by Mark Silvestri. It was issue 36, and that was my first, foray into comics, and I was just hooked by his art. And after that, I was still new to comics, but after that, it was just, I need to get everything I can with this character in it. Like, this is amazing. I didn't know that different books had different artists back then. I was just like, I I just love everything about this. Like the claws come out of his hands. Like this is nuts. This is ridiculous. And yeah, I just everything. Like I remember even like going and cutting grass and saving that money so I could buy Wolverine #1. And I was just in love with the character, everything. And then I would, as you're getting into comics, you see how popular he is, and you're like, oh, he's a Pete. This guy comes out everywhere. Like he's in every book. Like, why is this guy in every book? And then at the time, what solidified it for me is I was a huge Todd McFarlane fan. Like I was following the new Spider-Man series he was writing and drawing. And in one of the issues, Spider-Man goes to like Canada to look for the Wendigo, and Wolverine comes out in it, and I was just like a combination of one of my favorite artists and favorite characters with another one of my favorite characters. I was just like every page, my mind was blown. I was like, this is what I want to do. All of this right here. Like,
the first I remember the first time I saw a team up of my two favorite. It's just a feeling that you can't ever get again after you've seen it. It's like, oh, this can happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're blown away. Like, oh, like those that early foray in the comic books was just everything that came out, everything I got my hands on. Because you see, you get art books from school and you're like, oh well, I like architecture and I like looking at paintings and all of this is great, but it was for me, it was comics. So I would pick up Spider-Man, and there was Todd McFarlane and Eric Larson, who had similar styles, but they had their own style in itself.
They had that 90s style.
Yeah, and then I would go pick up like X-Men, because everybody was like, you need to pick up X-Men. Like, why are you not reading X-Men? I'd be like, wow, what is this? Like, who is this? And I need to find everything that this guy's doing. Oh man, just I grew up on that 90s comic book artwork where it was just so much detail, so big and in your face, but while still loving, I love artwork. So, all these new guys that are out, like Joel, we talked about this and we could talk about it for hours. Pepe Larraz,
I know.
Like, we were geeking out on him because we're just like, oh my gosh, this guy drew the character standing there, and it's like the most amazing panel I've ever seen. And
so who was what was your favorite costume of the Wolverine? Did you like the classic?
Gerald, please. It's my turn. I asked the questions.
Okay.
I thought with you stumbling me at first, we had gotten over this. But I'm telling you now. Okay. So Vic, what is your favorite Wolverine costume of all time?
I love the
the
classic blue and yellow.
Yeah, blue and yellow, yeah.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites. Actually, it was in that same Spider-Man comic. It was the first time I ever saw the blue and yellow one, because before that, he was always in the brown and orange. So
brown and orange is my favorite, and I have a feeling that's the one Gerald is doing here.
You're right. Because I got into X-Men during the Ramita. I guess it was the late 100s into the 200s era, and he already used he was using the brown costume, and So and I was a big fan of like Art Adams, and I don't know if you remember Art Adams did some of the most iconic Wolverine poses that everybody kind of like rips off, but they can't really do what Art Adams did. He did I don't know if you remember the Heroes for Hope. It was the benefit for comic to benefit starvation in Africa. And it had I think that was one of his first Wolverine poses where he's like running at you, and he has his claws off to the sides, and that was my favorite era of Art Adams. And I think there's been a lot of people that kind of like try and do that same pose, but can't really pull it off the way that Art Adams did it. But I'm more of a brown suit guy. But
Art Adams did the new Fantastic Four
Yes.
Wolverine, Spider-Man, Hulk, and that's where I first saw him. And
Ghost Rider.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Ghost Rider. I was like, yeah, who's this guy? Like, is this guy new? And then I'd go back and look and be like, oh wow, this guy's been around forever.
Yes.
This guy's not new.
Yeah, like how did I not know who this guy was? Like this guy's amazing.
He's a beast. He is a beast, and
it's like back in the 90s, he took a step back to allow the new kids to play around a little. And then he came back and said, "Hey, don't forget who the boss is."
Yes.
And just put them all back in their place.
Yeah, I still followed him over there when he did his Monkey Man and O'Brien, and
yes,
I was just, I would anything he would draw, I'd pick it up. He was just amazing.
Yeah, I agree completely. He's still one of my long shot, one of my favorite characters too that he did. Just really some really great artwork.
And I don't know if you've ever seen him online, like his process for drawing them. He does these like thumbnails that you're looking at them and like that's already done. Like for me, that would be done. Like that's a cover, do it. And he's like, this is my thumbnail. There's not much to it. And then he starts filling it in and he throws like 50 characters in the background. You're like, how the hell do you do that? Like, I don't know how you can fit that many characters on one page
without it looking crowded or messy.
Yeah.
And Gerald can't even make one character without it looking messy. Gerald, I'm sorry, but that was right there. That was
a softball. You had to. That was thrown up there.
Easy.
That was too easy. But you know what? It's true. It's like he can like he's one of those guys that he can't over render something. It's like he puts so much insane detail into the stuff. It's like I want to see even more detail. He's one of those exceptions that you can really he bucks the rule about you can over render something. When Art Adams does something, it's not rendered enough. He can keep on adding layers and layers and layers of stuff.
You can over render unless you are Adams.
Yes, exactly.
My favorite Art Adams was, I think that's one of the first times I saw him was his Batman. I don't know when
I've actually never seen his Batman.
He did a vampire Batman story. Is that the one you're talking about with Superman in it?
I think so. It's so. I'm an old man, Gerald. Okay, and it's a long time ago.
I'm older than you are. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but that doesn't make me less old. But I can't really remember anymore. But yes, it was a Batman.
Yeah,
I know it was a Batman. That's how much I know. And he also did an Invincible.
He did? I haven't seen that one.
I actually just Googled it up again to get reminded.
He did an issue where he just did cover art.
I think a piece of fan art or something like that. I've seen it before, but I just Googled his name to get reminded of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he also did an Invincible. And I'm a huge Invincible fan myself, so
are a lot of people right now.
Listen, Vic, I was a fan before it was cool.
Okay. In case you didn't know, Vic, I told you that he's gonna say it. He's gonna say it. So,
of course. I mean, you have your word plethora that you have to use all day, every show. I have to mark out for Invincible every show. That's
true. That is so true, and it's well deserved. I have to say that I didn't read Invincible, and Rick gave me the hardest time about you haven't seen it. And so I went back and I read the first story arc, and then of course the Amazon series came out, and it's good, it's legit. So Rick was totally telling the truth.
Well, duh. I mean, you sound surprised there, Gerald. What the heck?
Yeah, I was the same way. I didn't read the book. Like I liked Robert Kirkman. He was doing The Walking Dead and he did Haunt, but I didn't pick up Invincible, even though I love the artwork. When Ryan Otley came on, I was just like, this guy's amazing. Like, wow. But yeah, it was one of those books that would always, slip my radar, and I've never picked it up. And then when the series came out, I was like, hey, that's, I remember that. I'm going to give that a try. And then, like everybody, like so many others, that Amazon series comes on, and you're like, wow, this is amazing. I need to go pick up the books and read it and just, see how it compares. One, to see if the, show's doing it justice, because, every week on that show, you're like, wow, this is amazing. This is fantastic. And two, for the artwork.
Yeah. I mean, even for those that read the comic, was still holy beep for when they saw the animation, and still got shocked, which I didn't think would be possible, because I thought I knew what would happen, but they managed to change a lot of the story enough for it to be new. Yeah, Brian, I'm telling the truth. Stop rubbing it in. And there's 2 more minutes, guys.
2 more minutes. Okay, 2 more
and
minutes.
Look at that, Roy. Gerald actually listened to you when you said you wanted to see him ink. No, that was Sarah. Yeah, look at that, Sarah. Gerald knows how to listen sometimes.
What are we talking about? I'm not inking.
Is that not ink?
Ink? No, this is pencils.
Just hard pencil. Well, I'm blind, then never mind.
No,
I was just trying to give you a compliment and say good job, Gerald, but never mind.
It's a little bit tighter in terms of my compositions that I usually do, but yeah, but it's. I tell you.
Vic, you got 2 minutes.
Let's see if I can just at least get his face.
Yeah, I know, Sarah. I know. I was just being happy for 1 second, and then
I dashed your hopes. I always disappoint Rick. That's what happens.
Well, again, like you having to say plethora every show, you also have to dash my hopes every show. But yes, 2 more minutes, and I also saw, when it comes to actors for Wolverine, Brian Menard mentioned Jason Statham.
Too old.
I think also he's too athletically fit, if that makes sense.
What? Wolverine is like.
No, he's more like hunched over wild fit, like. I don't know how to explain it. I actually see Jason Statham as a great guardian from Alpha Flight.
Oh, that would be good.
Hey.
As Mac, I think his name is Mac. Yeah, I never thought about that. That would be kind of neat to see Alpha Flight get some Canadian representation in the MCU.
Yeah, that'd be. Great.
I mean, besides Wolverine.
Well, yeah, you're right. Besides Wolverine, but
don't forget he's actually Canadian. Why isn't there a super villain called the Canadian Goose? I mean, the Canadian Goose are the baddest
vicious. They're vicious.
Baddest MFers of all the animals. I mean, a Canadian Goose would totally rip the Wolverine in half.
Rick, are you a Letterkenny fan?
A what?
A Letterkenny? Have you seen the show Letterkenny?
No, I don't think so.
Well, they do a whole episode on Canadian. I'm probably going to say it wrong. Canadian gooses, but
geese.
Yeah, they go on and on about how amazing they are through the whole episode. You're gonna have to check that one out.
I don't like horror stories. I'd rather not. I'd like to sleep at night.
No, it's a comedy. You'll love it.
Oh, okay. So I won't get scared.
No, you won't get scared at all.
Okay, good. Pencils down.
Pencils down.
Yeah.
All right.
I scratched the quest for you,
Vic, that looks incredible.
Thank you.
I can't wait to see this fully inked, but the pencils look great.
It has some Joe Mad vibes to it.
Oh, I love Joe Mad's. Yeah, Wolverine. Because he had that big, stocky, powerful looking Wolverine.
Yeah, exactly. I think you did, and I've already seen some of that hatching technique that you only use sparingly, but it's very effective, very very effective.
Thank you.
Looks really
It's
cool.
really good. I love it. It has a. It looks like the Wolverine Hulk cover, kinda, with the.
Oh, with the 3 claws. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. I just started drawing.
No, but again, back to those positions and stances that are well known. Well, this is one of them for sure.
Yeah, very very
and
cool.
let's go to who says he's rusty, Sarah Semper.
I like this interpretation of Wolverine. It's different. Like
I like the mask.
Yeah, that's like the mask they'll probably have like in the MCU where the headpiece is shorter.
Yes,
and not as high.
And this is another thing that Wolverine, I think he's gotten less hairy as he's been interpreted. Like in the 80s, he was definitely hairier, and then it seems like then there are some interpretations where he's like, I don't know, maybe he does like a body wax, but it's just different now. It's like, but I always liked it.
I think they decided to not make people think that him and Beast were family.
I guess
because of the hairiness.
I guess so. All right, so
here we got Gerald.
Very nice.
It's funny that you can tell that this is the brown costume, even though there's no color. And
I love the giant X belt too.
Yeah, he didn't really have that until I guess that's was it Pepe Larraz? I don't know. That was more of a 2000 thing where they started putting X's on their belts. That's when Professor X decided to brand everything, and because he realized he was not capitalizing like George Lucas on the X-Men brand. So like everybody started having X insignias on their things. But yeah, very fun. Yeah,
we have one more from Diacho. Roy Mercado. He went a completely different way than the rest of you. He went with Old Man Logan.
Yeah,
very cool. That's very cool.
And his comment is me trying to pull off that classic Tiago sketchy look.
I think you exceeded it.
I think he failed and did his own sketchy look, which looks cooler.
It looks cool. It looks like Oliver Coipel, I believe his name is.
Yeah,
Coipel.
Olivier
Coipel. Yeah,
he totally.
Yeah, that's Roy and I have had many conversations, and just like you and I, Vic, Roy has some of the same influences that you and I like.
You can see it.
Yeah. Very cool stuff.
Here Gerald goes again, telling how great friends him and Roy is. Just to try and. It's not a competition, Gerald. We can both be good friends with Roy. Stop it.
Yeah. All right. Because Rick has Coipel conversations with Roy too. That's what I was trying to say. But yeah, it was such a fun treat to draw along with you, Vic, and some of our audience got to draw along with you too. I'm gonna have to look up South Park stuff because I got to be with the in crowd and know what you guys are talking about. But yeah, and I just want to put a message out to you. If there anybody else that wants to draw along with us and maybe just hasn't finished yet, we should hang out, Vic. Leave Rick alone.
So everybody is just friends with Roy.
Oh,
now.
There it is. So
it's not even special. It's not even special anymore.
Yeah. So Rick, you thought you were special, but he's
I'm still considered his daughter's god grandfather. So
okay. You're Ninong Rick.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically it's like Rick is. Roy is capable of having more than one friend, so that's always a good thing.
What? You can have more than one friend?
No, I said Roy is capable of having more than one friend.
And so probably because he's Philippine. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess so. But let's get back to
before we jump, I'm impressed with you, Gerald.
You're impressed with me?
Yeah.
He's
like excited. No, I'm impressed. I mean, not one single time during this interview so far have you messed up Rick or Vic.
Oh well, now that you said it, I thought for sure it was gonna happen at some point. Oh yeah, it's definitely going to happen now that you put that in my head.
Why do you think I did it?
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, all right, so now that our live drawing thing is concluded, I want to let our audience know that if you did draw and you're just not ready, let Rick know in the comments field.
What did you say? Dude did draw.
Well, if they didn't get a chance to finish drawing, like they're still drawing, let me go backwards here. Okay, anybody in our audience who hadn't completed their drawing and they want to share it, they can let Rick know and we will feature it later. How about that? Does that make sense?
If you did draw, does that sound wrong?
Anyway, let's get back on track here. You're just totally throwing me for a loop, and I'm like totally discombobulated.
It's Vic's fault. He's too good of a guest.
Yeah, he is. He is. Okay, so I wanted to add this back on here because we've completed our live drawings, and like I said, if anybody wants to share their artwork with us, we'll feature it later. But I wanted to as we're gonna start wrapping up the show, I really want to mention one thing that Vic mentioned, and let's go with this. Now, we talked about how Mark Silvestri was just like a really big influence in your artistic journey. And when we were doing the pre-show yesterday, we talked about these last 2 pages, and I didn't show them until now because I wanted to further the narrative in terms of we want to talk about you. Now, you are really, a talented artist, but you were trying to up your coloring game. And this is just something that I thought was really unique in terms of what you did to kind of hone your craft when you started to pursue coloring. Now, we saw this. You can get some of the more modern black and white pencils or inks you can get, and you can experiment. You can color with them, but these are examples. I think a lot of these are available. If you look hard enough, you can find them on the web and be able to do some real experimentation with digital coloring. But being the old school guy that you are in terms of appreciating Mark Silvestri and the stuff, especially the book that got you into comics, you found this. You have this issue. Now, you love it so much, but chances of you finding a black and white version of this is going to be hard unless you know somebody who bought the original page and maybe can get you that scan. You're not going to be able to do that. But what you told me that you did when you did this, because I was looking at this and I go, how did you get it so clean? And there was a really neat technique that you described to me in terms of finding something that was older, that's not really available for you to get, and but able to color it. So you want to talk a little bit about why this issue is so important to you, and then your technique in terms of converting this so you could do colors for it.
Yeah, this is Wolverine number 36. This was, again, the first book I ever got, drawn by Mark Silvestri. As I started coloring, I wanted to, really up my portfolio for colors, not just artwork. And I thought, what a great way of doing that is basically coming full circle from where I started and coloring the first comic that I ever owned. So what I did was I have the Marvel Unlimited app, and through that app on the iPad, I took screenshots of the original comic book. And from the screenshots, I took them over to Photoshop. I turned them to black and white, got rid of all the colors. So all that's left was basically the inks, because being an older comic, they didn't have gradients. They didn't have the color gradients like they do now, like the sky. They only had a handful of colors they were able to use back then. So it was a lot easier to go in there, remove the color through Photoshop, grab the inks, make my own line art with them, and then just start coloring from there. And, just enjoying being able to color the first book that, I ever got, and being like, oh, wow, this, I get to color. Basically, I get to color Mark Silvestri. This is what I saw. And, try to input some of the energy and some of the happiness that book brought me, even though that's a gloomy picture, but
but it's powerful. It's powerful.
I was just so blown away by this book that I wanted to go back and take a stab at bringing it to life through my colors, the colors were amazing back then. You know, I opened that book and it was amazing. But I just wanted to do my own and, you know, be able to say like, look, this is like where I started, and this is where I'm at now. And, you know, who knows, in the future I might, you know, try it again, or, you know, try to do my own little and pay homage to these pages, because they had such an impact on me and my art style today. This is where it all started for me, was this one book. Mm-hmm. So to be able to like color them, put them in my portfolio, it has so much meaning to me.
And it's good practice as well.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, anybody out there that's trying to color, I know we do a lot of artwork. You guys do a lot of artwork, like drawing on here. But anybody that wants to color, if you're looking for pages and you don't want to color the same pages that are out there, because you can go on DeviantArt, look up flats, and you get the same pages everybody else is doing. And my thought was, editors are seeing these same pages. I'm pretty sure they're getting tired of them. They're getting tired of seeing the same pages over and over and over again. So, you know, let's get older comics. I don't know how well it will work if you scan it in, but if you take a screenshot, let's say on an iPad, get rid of the colors in Photoshop, you have lines you can work with. I've done it with Jim Lee, McFarlane, all of that. So any colorists out there, like, you know, you have unlimited pages out there.
I think that's brilliant, because I think showing your art journey and then talking about like this issue, how it means so much to you, and then it's almost like you it's a part of your portfolio, but it's like you digitally color remaster. It's a color remaster in the Vic style, and I just thought that was brilliant. You know, I think that to anybody in our audience who's aspiring to be a colorist, obviously you can find those black and white high resolution scans out there, but don't be limited by it. And actually, what's kind of cool about this is that you're actually seeing it in the context of a lettered page.
Yeah, it looks like a finished comic.
Right, and you're having to think about how those colors are in relation to any of the sound effects, the word bubbles. You know, how those things is like you're thinking it in the fuller context, and even like how panels are relating to each other. How you're going to think about color theory from panel to panel. And I think that's really cool, because, you know, we've definitely got to see what Vic can do with these straight up pinups, you know, but this is good practice too. Just like, Rick is going to be advocating for this too. It's like people can do pinups, people can do those static museum poses, but sequential storytelling is another art in itself, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
And Rick is definitely analyzed. He's really looked at people's artwork in terms of panels, and he can really dig deep and show like where or like be able to express why things work or don't work, because he's a very good astute student of good sequential storytelling. And I think that that's really cool here is like, you know, you do fantastic colors, you do great pencils, you do great inks, but actually to see this is a great lesson. This is another pro tip from Vic. do a screen capture, like if you have a subscription to Marvel Unlimited, or if you have a nice scanner,
DC has apps too.
Right, yeah, any of the comics that are available digitally.
Steel, damn it, Steel.
Oh, I wasn't saying Steel.
Nobody said Steel.
yes. Get if you have a subscription, especially because
pages.
Find those.
I was just kidding.
That's right. And I think it's really cool too, because, you know, if you have that really nostalgic issue that you grew up with, and if you ever wanted to try and color it, I think that plays. You know, you take a picture with your camera on your phone, and then desaturate it, zero out the colors, soften it up so that the halftone screen isn't there, and bam, you have a great page for you to practice on. So, pro tip from Vic. See, I'm giving you lines. Pro tip from Vic. When you do your own show, you can definitely impart that knowledge, and that's what we want to talk about. Let's talk about the future. You know, so let me unshare this because I want to solo this out. So Vic, you know, we've had you on the show, and it surprises me that you haven't really done any type of streaming before, and you have so much. You have a wealth of knowledge, you know, and I called you the triple threat. You're soon to be the quadruple threat. You know, you're learning writing now, and it's just a matter of time when you can do your own IP, your own book, and then put all those talents into that IP that you're going to come up with. But let's hear what the future is for Vic. I know we talked about so many things. So let us know where do you see yourself going in these last few months in 2021 going into the future? Like, where do you see yourself?
Definitely gonna keep doing what I'm doing. I want to start working on my own book, hopefully before the end of the year. Definitely gonna keep trying to submit to bigger companies. Just getting my work out there. I want to start teaching what I know. I find it very, I find it fun being able to teach new things. That's why I want to start live streaming. I want to, share whatever knowledge I have with everyone. I think it's great when people share what they know, because then other people grow as artists, as writers, as colorists, as inkers, and then there's more comics out there for us to enjoy because we're all sharing all this knowledge to make our community bigger, better. I can't wait we said this yesterday. There was a lot of people who took this time during the pandemic to create their books and work on their books. So soon there's going to be some amazing books out there, and I can't wait. I can't wait to see that. And hopefully you'll see something from me in the future, whether it's from a big company or a little guy, and maybe my own stuff out there. Whatever it is. I just want to be the best that I can, and hopefully continue growing and getting better.
You are. I think this was a nice trial run for you to kind of get used to the streaming platform. But I tell you, you've made the investment. You have the personality. You have the knowledge to impart on many people.
There's people that's interested in getting
there you go. We got people in our audience who are gonna look at this.
People have job suggestions left and right in the comments right now.
You could do Skillshare, and you could reach out to Jojo Kun Comics, Brian Menard. I will be happy to put you in touch with Vic. But yeah, it's not
because you're also Brian Menard's friend.
Oh, dude. Let's look where Rick went with that. I think there's a little bit of a psychological trauma here that is manifesting.
A little bit. I've been here for a year, and it's not kept on pummeling on me.
Okay, well, Brian is good friends with Rick too. I'm not saying that he's not. But anyway, this is what I would like to say with Comics Cast and Let It Out. It's always great to showcase talent and guests here because we want to get, like I said, eyes on you. And if we can unite the community so that way our guests can be fans of our other guests and then in turn come up with great products, with great IPs, with great books that the mainstream comics don't really see, then that's great because I'm telling you that if the bigger companies are sleeping on the talent that is Vic, that's their problem. I think that's something that they're overlooking something that's truly great. And Vic is not gonna let that hold him back either. He's going to he told me, I think you said you were taking a writing class with
Scott's, if anybody's interested, Scott Snyder, who writes Batman, writes for DC, he's putting out a writing class. It's $7. That's
it can't
it's not like I'm doing an ad. But learn from the best.
Roy also wants to hire you now.
There you go. See, and that's beautiful. I think it's beautiful when our community can help each other and leverage the talents that we see in each other. It's really, really cool to see that. So Vic, I'm gonna say it again. It's like you're a triple threat right now with your inking, your penciling, and your coloring. Soon to be quadruple threat because now you're learning the art of writing. It's going to be a breakout year for you. I think that, like I said, you're on the cusp. I think that it's just a matter of time before you totally are unleashed on the industry, and we're going to see some really phenomenal stuff. And just remember that you're friends with Rick before me, and I'm gonna give Rick his props. He when I told him, I said, "Hey, I'm gonna get Vic on the show," and he goes, "Oh yeah, I know Rick. I mean Vic. See, I screwed it up. I screwed it up. I know. He told me because I know Vic, and he made it a point to say we go way back. So I think there's a little bit of there's where the trauma goes.
You mentioned that Vic had mentioned that he knew me. Before I said, yeah, we go way back. Gerald.
It's funny. I hadn't said when you messaged me about coming on the show. I looked at the message. I was like, I think he has me confused with somebody else. Like, I think they mean somebody else. That's got to be a mistake. And I was like, all right, I'll just message you back and see what it is. I was like, yeah, this is totally a mistake. Why are they messaging me right now?
You are totally too humble. I think you're referring to when Rick messaged you, or when
you messaged me.
Oh, okay. Because you and Rick go way back. You know, we're still new.
You should have let me do it, Gerald, because it would have been no problem.
Yeah.
No, there was no problem. Vic and I, we're good. We're good buddies now. Not as tight as you guys, but we're good buddies. But yeah, it's truly. I'm glad that you responded to the chat, because that allowed you to be on the show, and we were able to share your talents with our audience. So thank you so much. So as we wind down the show, oh my gosh, I can't believe how efficient we were. It seems like we got so much content out there, but yet we did not hit the 3-hour mark yet. But let's move.
We can still do it if you don't jump. Just get on with it.
He's basically going to tell me, if you don't shut up, Gerald. That's basically what he wanted to say. Yeah, let's move to the Oscar speech part of the show. Vic, I told you this is going to be your opportunity. Just give your final thoughts. We talked about your future already, but yeah, let's just hand the mic over to you, and you just let us know what you think.
Yeah, first of all, thank you guys for having me on the show. This was amazing. This is my first time ever doing anything like this, so it was really cool. Thank you to everyone who follows me, to Jay, she's always been pushing me, to my family, my friends, everybody, and I may not have a lot of work out there right now, but if you have a question, anybody has a question about comics or coloring, drawing, anything, reach out to me. I'm gonna start putting a lot of stuff out there. I'm gonna start streaming. Hopefully see books from me really soon. Don't be afraid to reach out. I'm always willing to answer anybody's questions, help out. I love doing this. It's such a passion of mine that I want to see comics keep getting bigger and better, and I want to be wowed by other artists and things like that. So if anybody has any questions, anything, reach out, ask me. I may take a little bit of time to get back. I work all day, but yeah, just thank you everybody for those that like my artwork and follow me. Thank you so much. It means a lot.
Well, I'm going to say that Rick is very grateful. I want to say that I'm going to speak for everybody else, including Rick. We are wowed by you. So when you say that you want to be wowed by other by other artists and what they're doing, you're doing your part to actually wow us. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing your name on some books, and if not with the big companies, an indie book, because I think that's going to happen. That's inevitable. You're Thanos. It's inevitable. I am inevitable. It's going to happen. So
we got a quick question. Quick question here, by the way. If you have a YouTube channel, or
I do, but there's like nothing on it. It got set up.
Do you plan on later?
Yeah, I do. I'm going to be doing that. You can see that I have like little TikTok videos that I make. Mm-hmm. But I really want to start doing lessons and streaming.
Speaking of, Vic, after the show here, we should talk, because I want Gerald to stop bothering me with producing more videos.
You think it's a bother?
I could use a teacher, so let's talk after the show.
Yeah, we go.
Yeah, you would be perfect for the third edition of Rick's Mental Block.
I even got a new name for the show as well.
A new name? Oh my gosh! Okay,
the Rick and Vic trick.
Interesting. Okay, so
It
stay
just rolls
tuned for
off the
that.
tongue.
Yeah, it does. And Vic, I encourage you to get active. Don't be call girl. Don't be anti social media. I want you to be pro social media. I want you to go full swing and just now you have this tool that I was able to introduce you to share your iPad illustrations live. I think that's going to be invaluable to see you do live demos of your artwork, and then your coloring tips, your talking about your walks, your art journey that we shared here, being able to share that and give more details, because we didn't cover everything. There's so much more that we could tell. I think that would be it'd be really great. It'd be invaluable. You already have you have the 2 followers and me and Rick, and you have the rest of our audience that just adore your artwork. We would definitely follow you and just really like to see your journey as you keep on going.
Thank you.
So Roy is saying I'm dancing on TikTok too. That's my retirement plan. Yeah, we're all gonna get rich.
I already paying him for it.
Okay. All righty. So that being said, as we end with all of our shows, we talk about our charity partners. So let me pull that up right now. Add that to the stream. And if you look at the scrolling ticker at the bottom, this is Golden Fight. Golden Fight is a near and dear charity that's really close to Comics Cast. They're a charity group that I like to say is big enough and small enough at the same time. Small enough in the sense that they are not this big international or national organization. They have a very focused approach in my area, the Mid-Atlantic region of the United States, and that allows them to be big. That allows them to be huge. What they focus on is helping families that have children that are dealing with difficult diseases like cancer. And when that happens, when they're focused on the healing of their child, inevitably financial difficulties will be incurred, and that's where Golden Fight comes in. I was saying that it was like 98 to 97% of the proceeds that they raised was going to the families, but I stand corrected. On their website they say 100%. What organization can say that? They say that 100% of the money that they raise goes to the family. A lot of the leadership does this volunteer. They do it because they know somebody, or they have a child that's gone through this, and they know what challenges await those families and the child that's dealing with cancer. So please check out Golden Fight. We are not financially tied to them. The leadership is just really good friends with the co-founder of Comics Cast, Joe Tolliver, and I've got to know them, and they are a great organization. So check them out, and if you feel like you would like to contribute to a worthy charity, this is a worthy charity. So check out Golden Fight. So let me unshare that, and I'm going to pull up one last time. Check out this scrolling ticker here at the bottom. It's in the comments field. It's pinned to the top. If you we'll post it again at the end of the show. This is how you can follow this guy. You can follow this guy too.
Not by using those links.
Yeah, you can follow both of these guys, but follow Vic. Vic is your tremendous talent. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you so much.
We look forward to hearing big things about you. So check him out. It's moving off the screen. We're gonna let it go one more time, and then after that, we'll let Rick take us out. So we love you. We'll see you next time on Comics Cast. I think we're going to take a little break for Labor Day next weekend, but we will be back with full force, full vengeance, bringing another creative talent the week after, or the weekend after this. So that being said, we love you. Comics Cast out.